Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Draft Degenerates podcast. Dalton, Jake joining me as always. We're doing safeties. Pause. Pause. We're doing safeties this week because it's our last position group. Finally, plenty of players still to watch, at least for me. I know
No
guys
top
have
10
to
kickers
watch,
list.
if you could not pay, well, actually, you certainly could pay me enough money. Actually, I would do a specialist one if I felt like it was remotely worth it, but it's not. No offense to those guys, they will still, all of them that we would talk about probably will still make way more money than I ever will playing football. So good for them, for those who get a chance to the NFL. But no, we're not going to be doing that. One day maybe if we're bored enough, we have enough time at the end of draft season, maybe we'll do specialists. But this is our last position group that we're doing a full dive into before we do some catch up on some guys we didn't watch the first time, all that good stuff. But as far as the positions themselves, they will all be covered by this podcast by the end of this show. So that's definitely a relief. We're getting closer to the draft. Plenty of more stuff we're going to do before then, but good to get this out of the way and kind of finish up with the positional rankings, guys.
Yeah. It's come to a merciful end by the end of the safety.
I hate to say that, but it kind of feels that way this year a little bit. And it's not that there isn't really good players in this class. It's just sometimes you get to number 12 on your watch and you're like, oh my God, do I need
You can only
to
watch so many 4th and 5th rounders.
Right. And at some point you're like, that's where you're supposed to kind of fall in love with a guy that you like a lot. But the problem then is maybe not to you, then they're not a 4th or 5th rounder to you. It's everyone else who thinks they're 4th or 5th rounder. And you're like, well, am I crazy or am I just watching too many players at this point? Did I forget what's going on? I'm not sure. Kind of feels that way eventually. But no, I think this safety group is fun at the top. There's some stuff in the middle that I think is interesting. And the back end of it is a lot of I simply don't know what to do with you, frankly. And I think it's kind of the whole crux of this draft and part of the issue with this draft. But we will certainly still be watching when the draft rolls around. We'll talk more about that later. But before we get into our top 10s, as always, we're going to do our honorable mentions first. Make sure we talk about a couple guys that won't be talked about otherwise, unless, of course, as tends to be the case, one of you or whatever has a player that I'm like, this guy sucks, and Dalton's like, he's number 5 for me, or Jake's like, oh, he's actually number 7 for me, and I'm like, you're always in the middle between us. Jake is literally like the perfect mediator for this podcast because Dalton, not as much this year actually. You and I have been kind of close.
We were in lockstep on corners,
especially corners, which was like when we all had. Wasn't it Terrell? We all had at 7 or something like that.
Yeah,
and I was like, hold the phone. We
had
all
the same
had the
list
same...
for 5. For at least 5 of the spots, we had the exact same list.
It was nuts. So maybe it's a little different this year. I don't know. Maybe this class is just so straight down the middle in terms of what it is that we all just were like, I guess these are all the players that are good. But no, we'll see kind of how the safety list shakes out. But start, Jake. I want to give you your first shot here. Who's someone that you want to make sure you talk about that might not be in your top 10 though? So
I'll go with Michael Taff out of Texas.
I'm glad you brought him up. I didn't get to him, so I'm glad we're going to talk about him. But it didn't make my list. For me. Okay, 12 for you, 11. Okay. Well, when I watch him eventually, which will probably be sometime next week, I'll let you know basically if I think you guys are full of shit or not. I guess we'll find out. But Jake,
you don't need to watch him, honestly.
Oh well, shit.
Yeah,
right.
you could. I like him, but you could probably do without.
It's like I like him, but not you. You don't have to. Don't worry about it. It's never a great way to start off, but okay, good.
There are. I know it might sound like I don't like him now, but there are a lot of things he does that I like. He's very aggressive against the run. Comes downhill very aggressively. He really plays with a lot of intensity against the run. Pretty solid at tackling in the open field. In coverage, he's got pretty solid speed deep down the field. He's not getting beat over the top too often. Takes pretty good angles in pursuit. He can take on pullers. He plays pretty strong for his size, so he's able to take on pullers and kind of work through blocks in the run game. One thing I really liked was he times his blitzes really well in terms of the snap count. He's very good at reading a quarterback's cadence kind of, and he times those very well. Pretty good around the ball. With that said, his production statistically kind of fell off in his last season. He's a good athlete, but he's not not a great athlete. I'm pretty sure he ran a 4.5.
That is correct.
Not a he also noted he sometimes gets too aggressive in man-to-man coverage, and he will let quarterbacks look him off when he's in deep zone. So those were pretty much like, he's a solid prospect, but it's just not really anything special enough for him to make my top 10 with those concerns. Also, I noted he had a pretty interesting high school career. He had multiple offers, and he chose to walk on at Texas instead because he really wanted to play for Texas. He also, he was high school teammates with Cade Klubnik as a receiver. And he also intercepted Quinn Ewers twice in a playoff game.
Well, guess what? So. Now he's safety 1 for me. So. For those,
so yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was a pretty interesting, some little tidbits there. But yeah, he was number 11 for me, so he's just outside my top 10.
Yeah, you mentioned the offers. Yeah, I think part of it was like they were like smaller school offers because he was a 0-star recruit.
They definitely weren't big schools. I think it was like Rice and something else.
Yeah. But he has a 0-star mentality, and he is a just hard-nosed grinder type player. Like Jake said, loves to get physical. The issue is he's 6'1", 190.
Yeah.
And that's not going to work in the box at the NFL level at all. Like, you're going to die taking on a pulling guard at 6'1", 190 in the NFL.
Yeah, I looked him up because I didn't get a chance to really watch him much at all, like I said, or see him much at all. But immediately I'm like, oh, so this is, I've the 0-star mentality. You just look at him, you could tell the 0-star mentality. Looks a little bit like Brock Purdy in the face, which is interesting to me.
Yeah.
Not sure how I feel about that, but we won't give him too much flack for that.
He does make it work though. He's able to get people on the ground at a surprisingly good rate. And he does have good athleticism, and like for that reason, I think at worst you're getting a really good kick coverage guy that might also be your third safety. Like that's kind of I think what you're really hoping. Maybe he becomes a little bit more than that. Or if somebody gets hurt, you hopefully have a reliable backup there that can play a little bit more. But defensively, he's probably mostly going to play in your dime packages, where I think you can move him around a lot, which is nice because he does have some versatility there because of the athleticism. But, yeah, it's just, he made it. He's already made it a lot further than he ever should have. This is just kind of where he's at this point. Like he's
a really good story kind of guy, but I just don't know how much further that story is going to go. But he's an easy guy to root for.
Yeah, they're going to take him out back, is what you're saying, and then
also a 5th-year senior. Like I said, he was playing as Quinn Ewers in high school.
Yeah. You guys want to talk about 5th-year player? We'll get there. We'll talk about it. Okay, Dalton, who's one of your honorable mentions you want to talk about?
I'll start with Bishop Fitzgerald. He's my 11.
Okay.
From USC. Did you guys have him?
I didn't get a watch.
He was my 12.
Okay.
So you guys flip-flopped your two guys there. Okay.
Yeah.
Really sure tackler, had a really low missed tackle rate for a safety. I think he was right around 10% this year, which for safety, especially college safety, is pretty low. 5 picks in 10 games this year, so the production is just really, really solid. He's got good transition quickness, but at the size, 5'11", 202, it's hard to see what he's going to do at the next level because the speed is average. I just don't know if he has the range to play deep. I don't know if the man coverage skills are good enough to play in the slot. Might not be big enough to play in the box too much. it's just really hard to figure out what he is going to do. And that's kind of my issue. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, good football player and like productive. And I mean, the tackling's really solid and he makes it work. I mean, the production's there. So there's a few guys. He's one of like 3 safeties that I have a 4th round grade in, and they're all kind of the same.
You love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like they make it work. The tape shows they're producing, but are these guys really NFL safeties?
Yeah, I mean, as far as that type of profile, like you said, again, not having watched him, it does just kind of feel like it's going to be hit or miss, right, with guys that are like that. And I think that's kind of the problem with some of these guys is like, I think something that gets a lot of people messed up a little bit is that they'll see someone produce the way that he did, right, where you said he had 5 picks in 10 games.
Yeah.
And people will just say, oh, well, I mean, he must be good. Right. And I think that's totally fair for a lot of people to think just off the top of their heads, like, oh, of course he's, if he's getting that much production, he's going to be good. But it doesn't always translate to the next level. And that's just kind of the reality.
Even in the NFL, you can have 5 picks in one season and then disappear. And also you can be getting cooked that whole year too.
Because, listen, there's a lot of guys who do that. They just kind of be doing that. But I think realistically, guys like that are just going to always be kind of hard to project to the next level because you just don't know what they're going to be actually like good at from down to down. So, but for me, so the first guy I want to talk about, and it's because I don't even know if you guys would have watched him. I felt like I had to for a couple different reasons. One, because he was brought up to me multiple times before this happened, but on Monday on my Still Curtain podcast for Fansided, one of the co-hosts on that show that I do on Mondays talked about this player as a potential pick for the Steelers. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll have to watch him. It is Lewis Moore, the safety out of Indiana. He's my number 13, 12 safety. Did you guys watch him at all?
I didn't get to watch him, man.
Okay. So here's the problem with Lewis Moore right off the bat. 25 years old. He is a 7th-year player. Yeah. He's 2019 recruiting class.
Jesus.
He's 20.
That's my class.
Yeah. There you go. Boom. Jake, you and him could be BFFs. Here's the thing. He is a 7th-year player, but he plays like he's a 7th-year player. Always, and I mean pretty much always in the right position. Always doing what he's supposed to be doing. Always kind of clogging up passing lanes down the field. Making plays on the football that he has no right to be making with his athleticism because he's not a very good athlete, straight up. I think sub-5 RAS, not a very big guy, but ultimately for me, why I have him still why I wanted to watch him is still why I take him somewhere in the 4th, 5th round. I'm very confident that if I needed a safety to just be out there and not get me killed in coverage, he could do that for me. Like he could be 3rd or 4th safety type where like he'll play special teams, I imagine, because of course he would. He's been around forever. He understands the gig. It is what it is. And I think he would at least be able to help keep the defense from falling apart in the back end if one of my starting safeties is out, because he is a very smart, sound player that just isn't going to do a whole lot of playmaking with his athleticism and his size. So he's that type for me where it's like, all right, I don't want to take this guy till like a little bit, maybe even later on day 3, but I'm confident that even if there's not upside here, I'm getting a guy that's probably going to be able to save my defense on a couple occasions if I absolutely need someone to play safety for me and not get killed. So that gets him the 12th spot for me.
Nice.
Yeah. If you guys were wondering why Indiana won a national championship this year,
notice
how every week on this show, every position group, there's a guy from Indiana that's in his mid-20s that probably should have been playing on the fringe of the NFL roster last year. At every position group.
Right. They're kind of
7th-year player is insane.
Yeah. It's tough. 5'11", 191, also not great, frankly. Big hands. Can catch the football when it's thrown to him or when he breaks on the pass. But a 4'6", 340 at that size, 34-inch vert. 3-cone, 6'9", 7, pretty good. I think ultimately, again, he is very much like the prototypical, like, this is your third or fourth safety who, when he plays, you don't really notice him ever, but he's also not getting you killed. And that's fine, I think, if you're looking for somebody like that like on day 3. I'll circle back around with another name that I want to just get out here because I have no earthly idea where you two are going to be on this player because I could understand any number of things. Genesis Smith out of Arizona.
Oh,
is my number 11 safety.
He's 8 for me.
Okay.
He is 6 for me.
Okay. I simply can't with a player who can't be trusted to tackle anyone.
Yeah.
I can't do it. If you're a safety and you are this bad, not only because it's one thing if he was just bad at tackling, right, which he is, but it's another thing when he can't, like, there's no angle that's ever taken by him that I'm like, that makes sense. Like, I understood it. There was a play, I forget exactly, I'd have to pull it up and find it. There was a play where a tight end was being actively tackled by his legs, and he still he ended up behind him in pursuit, like trying to run and finish the playoff. He ended up behind him, despite the fact it was barely a moving target. I don't know if I could play him on defense in year 1 at all, knowing that if he needs to stop a play from being a touchdown in the open field, I don't think he's capable of doing it right now. And I can't do it, frankly. I'm intrigued by the coverage ability and the athleticism, and all that stuff. Like, it's certainly like I would draft this player on day 3 and hope that I can develop him enough as a tackler and as a run defender to get him out there so he can be like a true like free safety for me or whatever. But right now, the only reason he's even 11 is because I understand the upside is there, but I cannot in good conscience put him in my top 10 safeties. I just could not do it. So I wanted to make sure I get him out there. So, but you guys go.
I mean, that's fair. I definitely get I mean, at this point, if you're drafting him, he is going to be a liability against the run. Like, he just not a lot of play strength. He doesn't really take on blocks well. Doesn't shed them quickly. And the angles are bad. I had him higher because I mean, I love pretty much everything he does in coverage. Like, he's very athletic. Mm-hmm. He's patient in coverage. He can be a slot defender. He looks like he has good awareness in zone coverage. He reads quarterbacks' eyes pretty well. Pretty solid ball skills. His vertical is 42.5 inches. So the athleticism is there.
Yeah, pops up.
I think for me, the reason, and I know Dalton had him a little higher, but I'm a little bit, I mean, the run defense is bad at this point, but he's only 21 and he won't turn 22 until kind of late in his rookie year. And he looks like he's willing to play the run. Like, he doesn't play scared. Like, he'll come down.
I almost wish he did sometimes.
I mean, he doesn't play the run well, but I think it's like he's got plenty of time to grow, and he looks willing to play the run. So that made it a little bit less of a concern for me. But those issues were why he was lower in my top 10, I guess. But I definitely get the concerns.
Yeah, he just looks confused against the run sometimes, which isn't great, I know. But and obviously, I'm going to get the negatives out of the way first.
Yeah.
Obviously, almost a 25% missed tackle rate this year.
It's just disgusting.
Yeah, that's not good.
Like, it's not good.
And part of why I do have a 3rd round grade on him, though, because as Jake mentioned, the athleticism's crazy.
Yeah.
The physical profile is awesome at 6'2", 202. And also, at the end of the day, I don't think you don't have to play him as a deep safety right away, if ever, to be honest. Like, at the end of the day, he might just be a nickel. I
don't like that either, because you can't defend the run from the nickel then with him on the field. That's part of the problem.
Fair.
For me, at least. I understand that, yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, when the league is full of these, like, power slots now and all these, like, really good tight ends that are basically wide receivers athletically, you kind of need somebody like him to shut those guys down. And I think he can do that. The only reason he didn't do that a lot this year at Arizona is because they had Traden Stukes, and it just made more sense.
Yeah.
He's honestly, if I was taking this type of player, and I understand he's much older than Smith is, but I would much rather have Stukes than Smith at this point by a wide margin because I know that Stooks can do it. Right. That's kind of my thing too.
Now he did this. Now he was their nickel last year.
Right.
Smith was like their slot guy last year, so he can he has kind of already shown that he can do it. It's just wasn't asked to do it this year as much. But man, I really like the. I do think you can move him around. You know, even though like slot probably is his best position right now, but also as a deep safety, doesn't let a lot get behind him. And I really love how he plays with a sense of urgency. I just think that there's a lot of potential there. And I think the man coverage skills are good enough that you can play him right away as a pure press nickel. That's kind of the way I look at it.
The upside case is there. Yeah, like the upside case is there. Like I have no questions about what he could potentially be as a coverage player. I have really no doubts about that from an athletic standpoint. Honestly, from the tape itself is not bad at all as a coverage player, even right now. But I don't know how I justify putting him on the field as he stands right now. Like from the tape that he put on at Arizona in a actual full-time role, even a part-time role that's specialized, like you might get got on one of those plays he's out there. If the right play breaks and he has to be the one to stop it from being a touchdown. Like there was a play, I think in the same game I was talking about, where he overran a tight end or like underran a tight end being tackled, which again, I don't know how he managed to like not square that up, but whatever. There was a play on the opposite side of the field that he was making his way over to where the receiver broke free of a tackle, and he was literally just kind of walking over to it and watched him break free of the tackle and then like waited a second and then said, oh crap, and then went after touchdown. It was an easy touchdown because like he was standing there watching the play happen like 5 feet away, and then after he broke the tackle, that's when he decided to run after him. And I'm just like, dude, what are you doing right now?
Like, I feel like that comes from getting yelled at too many times for like taking dudes' heads off as they're getting taken down.
And at the end of the day, if they're yelling at him too much for that, you cannot tell this player to not try hard to tap.
Yeah,
you can't. Really. That's a coaching. If that's a coaching thing, totally fine. But that's a really bad problem to be having if you're the coach.
Yeah. If those are the 2 gears.
Yeah, I can't with it. But I understand having them in your top 10 though for sure. But anyone else you guys want to mention before we get into our top 10s?
I have one that I think is probably going to be in your top 10s, but I just couldn't like. My number 13 guy is Jalen Stroman from Notre Dame.
I didn't get to him.
I didn't watch him either.
Oh, okay.
So he's not one with the
so yeah, he some sites are really, really high on him. Yeah. And I don't really get it. Like he's pretty high up on like the PFF board and a couple others like on Draft Professors. A lot. There were some sites that were pretty high on him because what I did is I just watched everybody that was in the top 10 on Mock Draft Database, PFF, Draft Professors, or Draft Buzz. Those were the four sites I looked at.
Yeah, understandable.
Cast a wide net, but Stroman is interesting. 6 foot 199. So I mean, basically, the best way to describe him, this is just a miniature linebacker.
Oh,
without the linebacker instincts, though.
That I don't love.
Yeah, hard hitter, sure tackler, gets downhill quick, really effective in run support. The long speed's pretty good, like sideline to sideline speed. The problem is really late to react to receivers running by him, late to diagnose plays, and it's like, well, at that size, you can't literally be a linebacker, so you have to be able to do the safety things, and he just kind of struggles with them.
You want to take a guess what his 40 at his pro day was?
I think it was 4.4s.
4.7.
Oh, never mind.
Oh,
that's tough.
It's not good.
That's tough because I was looking him up.
He was faster at the combine.
Might have been, but he at his pro day 4.7. 4 for 1 shuttle, 8th percentile, 3 cones, 718, 17th percentile. Like did not test the way that a player like him, the way you're talking about him, needs to test. Unfortunately, that probably hurt him a little bit on some sites. But yeah, like he's a guy that I guess like if some sites are higher on him, maybe we'll need to watch. But interesting Interesting guy to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one player that I want to bring up before we move to the top 10s, because again, this might be someone that you guys have, but also I have him at 13, not necessarily because if I thought he was going to be like a full-time safety, that he might not be a little bit higher. But every time I watched him, because I watched a couple games with him because he was very interesting to me, I just kept thinking, like, you should just play like big old outside corner, just off zone corner, dude. Because he's not good at a lot of the safety stuff, but when he's just straight covering somebody, I can get into it. Like I think there's stuff there. But when he gets too manipulated by movement and stuff in the backfield and all this stuff. But VJ Payne out of Kansas State is number 13. I think his athletically, he tested like a corner. He kind of is built like a corner. 34-inch freaking arms, which is sick for a corner or a safety. I wonder if he should go outside and be a big old either press man if you can coach him up on that, or just be like an off zone, like kind of like a Tariq Woolen type kind of guy, like athletic build wise. That might be his best skill set, honestly, kind of from what I watched of him at least. But
yeah, that's fair. He's 9 for me.
9, okay.
Yeah, he's 10 for me.
10, okay.
I can see the vision there though.
Like that just feels to me like a better use of his skills and his build is kind of that type of player, where you take away some of the stuff that he has to read out as a safety and allow him to kind of focus more on just what he's doing in coverage against who he's playing against, obviously. That feels like a better usage of what he has going on. But
I mean, he played slot corner a decent bit.
Right, and even that, but especially like I think even like legit boundary corner.
Yeah, well, he's got the length for sure.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, the one of the reasons why I was higher on him is because the man coverage skills are really solid. And again, like I just think like that skill set, like to be able to lock down teams where like we're seeing so many teams down the league where is either a wide receiver, their best receiver is either a wide receiver that is basically a tight end or a tight end that's basically a wide receiver. And having a guy to cover those guys, I just think is so valuable.
Right.
And that's kind of why, again, I had a 4th round grade on him because I think he can at least do that. Mm-hmm. I do like the idea of having him maybe do more corner things. I'd be scared about having him as a nickel, or I mean, as an outside corner, just because he was a 4-4 guy, but I don't know if he plays like it.
I saw a spurt, like when he actually got to get up and go and run. I think it shows on tape when he can do that, which I think if you're playing him in like a true like off-zone situation where he has a little bit of cushion to keep guys in front of him and then be able to body them down the field, I think you can get away with it. I just feel like, again, his overall size and skill set and the way he wins as a player feels better, even if it is mostly like in the slot technically as a corner, but more so just a corner like shouldn't be playing legit actual safety much if
I agree.
Ever. Yeah.
One of the things that did like it was a combo of things that kind of bothered me. Stares down the quarterback too long.
Yes, that's
way
too
long.
That's kind of what I'm
getting
at.
Doesn't get his feet turned over quick enough then when he does react. And then on top of that, when beat gets grabby. And it's like that's just a terrible combination of 3 things that you just see it over and over again. It's like watching the quarterback, trying to make a play. Oh shit. And then grabs.
Yeah. Like I think there's part of something about the processing element of playing safe just isn't really clicking with him at this point in his career.
Yeah.
And it just makes me wonder, like, if you simplified his role as a true, like, again, either slot or occasional boundary or whatever it might be, would that help him maybe tap into the clear athletic gifts that he has and just make him an overall more valuable player for you?
You see it in run support too, like just very apprehensive. Yeah, I think he either needs to be like I think he either needs to be like just a nickel or a pure deep safety. I think if you made him like a pure like center fielder type safety and let him just
that might work
run around, I think that could work.
Yeah.
The problem is he is just thinking way too much.
Yeah. Safety is a thinking man's position,
safety.
folks. Let me tell you what. It is a thinking man's position. That's something you'll learn very quickly watching this, because you guys have to think a lot at this position, and sometimes you're good at that, and sometimes you're not. And it's honestly like when they're not, I'm like, I don't blame you. I couldn't play that for shit. I know I couldn't. There's no way. Not that I'm built to do it anyway, but even if I was, no shot. Not what I would be doing. But that's beside the point. I was a defensive and offensive lineman. I don't have to think for. No, I'm just kidding. Those guys have to think plenty too. But anyway, I just want to make sure I get his name in there in case you guys felt similarly about him. But so that was your number 10, Jake, right?
Yeah, he was my 10.
And your number 9, Dalton. So let's break into our actual top 10s. Dalton, why don't you give us your 10 then? Since
Jake, my 10, and this is purely just as a safety, he'd be my number 3 nickel. But my number 10 guy we talked about last week, Jalen Kilgore from South Carolina.
Okay, so I have him as my number 8, so similar to you.
He was He was 6 for me.
Okay,
fair.
All right, so again, we're good there. So why don't you start us off then, Dalton, since you kicked us off.
So for him, like even more so than Payne, I think he is a pure nickel. I mean, he's a nickel corner. I think could do safety things because I mean he is a heat-seeking missile as a tackler. I think he has the athleticism for the side for the safety position. I do worry the hips are a little clunky.
Yeah.
I just don't know if he's really a deep safety, but I mean I think he can do some box safety things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Would probably be the idea with him. I do worry about him covering faster, shiftier slot players.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of the issues with him. I do think he's kind of limited to either just being a hammer in the box or having him lock down, a good tight end.
Yeah. I get wanting him at corner for sure. I mean, his size and length is impressive. He's got the speed to carry routes deep. Really good at the catch point, thanks to his length. He's willing to play physical against the run. And he kind of does just a lot of things on the defense. Like he kind of can get used all over. I like Dalton said, I worry about him. Like if he was in the nickel, I worry about fast slot receivers because I feel like there was a good amount of times I saw him on film just like get worked at the line of scrimmage. His hips are just kind of tight. He doesn't really on those like crossing routes or slants right off the line. If the receiver makes a good move, I just worry about him being able to keep up. I feel like there's a lot of times he kind of just stumbles out of receivers' breaks. So I don't know. I'm pretty high on him though. Like I love his length. I think he does a lot of things that translate well to safety. Really good at the catch point. He has great recovery speed. He does feel like a little bit of a guy that might just struggle a little bit to find like his true fit and like true position. But I think there's just so many traits and things that he does really well that I think his safety, I was just pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I get that. I think for me, he's 8, and he's also my number 3 slot from last week too, Dalton. So you and I kind of are in alignment there. I like him most in the slot, but I think if you needed him to be in your base defense as like your box safety, I think that's fine. I think he can play there, and it won't be really an issue because he does have the size and ability to come up in the run game and impact things there. But I do think in the slot, as I'm sure I talked about last week as well, I think he is a little bit limited in certain ways in terms of what you want him to do. It's mostly what you guys talked about with the hip fluidity. He's just not really being there, so quicker, faster guys can turn him around or just beat him to a spot because of the lack of quickness there. But when he's coming downhill and being aggressive from the slot position, I think it's a really good player or a really good tape from him when he's doing that. So. But yeah, he slots in at number 8 pretty much just because, again, a lot of these other safeties that are in this range, I'm like, I don't know how great you are at any one thing. I at least think that Kilgore is going to be a really good slot defender who can play your box safety role when you need him to. So, but my number 10 guy, another player that was in my slot rankings last week, Keontae Scott out of Miami. If he was going to play a position other than just inside and slots, it would have to kind of be some sort of box safety or some safety type because He's certainly not playing outside corner. So I was like, well, if I'm not going to just rank him as a slot defender, because you could argue he's just that, where would I slot him? Probably here. Like I think there's enough of a skill set there as a tackler and a guy that can come down and be a force that if he needed to be like a true safety for you sometimes, whether it's just in your base defense or what have you, he could survive there. I think he could be fine, but he's mostly going to be obviously a guy that you want to play in the slot as that kind of, again, another physical, downhill player. So
that's fun. I did not consider him for like this show, but that's fun.
Yeah.
I just wanted to place him somewhere other than just slot defender because I think, again, all these guys at some point are going to have to play some amount of snaps that aren't just in the slot. Like that's just kind of how it is. Like, and if he's going to be on the field and it's not in the slot, it's not going to be outside corner. So to me, at least it shouldn't be to me. So I think probably safety in some situation or others where he'd actually play if he had to. So
I like that.
I'm assuming, guys, again, you said you didn't really rank him in that way, which is fine. I get that.
Yeah.
I am alone on that one, at least on number 10. But let's get to our number 9, which I think is just Jake and I, because I think yours, Dalton, was Payne. Right. So Jake, kick us off with number 9 here.
So my number 9 is Akeem Wheatley.
Okay.
I feel like I'm a little lower on him than most of what I see.
Where do you
have him? I'm going to be surprised if you guys are higher.
He was 5 for me.
He's 5 for me.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right. So I was wondering who was going to have the Penn State safety higher, and I wasn't sure. And I felt like it would be potentially me, but Dalton and I are in agreement there. But Jake, you start us off, obviously. Tell us about Zacchaeus. Why did you have him at 9, which apparently is now you don't think he can be drafted even? Like, what are we doing? Anyway, no, just go ahead.
He was really fun to watch. Like the level of intensity he plays with, especially coming downhill. Like he plays with a lot of intensity, good athleticism for his big size for the position, really long strides, so he can run with receivers. He's good as kind of just playing like a center field type of role. Always seems to put himself around the ball. Good football IQ. He looks for big hits. Pretty good gap awareness, I thought. His hips are pretty fluid in man coverage and against like breaking routes. Teams kind of just like watching his film, they didn't really throw the ball his way a lot, which I think kind of shows the reputation that he has. Yeah. He really. I think I don't know if this is true or not, but I think I saw something. He only got like 10 targets his way last year or something.
I think it was.
So teams kind of just avoided
13 maybe or 10, something like that. Yeah.
So teams kind of just avoided
stupidly low number.
And very like no penalty concerns at all with him, which is another thing that I like. I don't know. I guess I'm just a little lower. Like I do like a lot of the things he does. I don't think his I'm not sure what his 40 time was, but I don't think his straight line speed is anything.
Yeah, 4.63, okay. Which makes sense with his I
don't think he takes great angles in pursuit. Like he's a willing tackler coming downhill, but I think he'll need to clean up his angles. I feel like he has a lot of arm tackles. And he's also a little bit of an older prospect, which kind of brought him down a little bit for me. I just think he's kind of a guy where it's just like at his age, I would like to see the little things like taking like angles and stuff like that. I would like to see that refined a little bit more. And his athleticism is good for his size, but it's not anything super special. So I don't know. I kind of thought I was going to like his film a little bit more than I did. I don't have any like really major concerns. There wasn't as much kind of ceiling, I guess, as some of the other guys I put above him that I saw. But I get that I am kind of lower on him than most. So maybe I'm just not seeing the same stuff. But yeah, he was 9 for me.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it there. I think high floor, low ceiling is just the definition with him. I mean, love the way he patrols the center field. And he gets good depth, but then also breaks hard on the ball. And like one of the things I really liked is the way he limited Yak. so much. It's like as soon as the ball's caught, guys on the ground. He just did it so consistently. And really anticipates really well. A lot of the reason why he didn't get targeted much is because he kind of saw where the quarterback wanted to go and just took it away before the quarterback even let it go. That does bring me to some of my concerns and why I really only could have a 3rd round grade on him and really just didn't want to like him, couldn't like him more. A lot of what happens is the long speed, I think, is just okay. And because of that, he uses his anticipation to kind of cheat over. And so he gets looked off. Like you watch the Ohio State tape. And I mean, part of it is part of the issue was Penn State had corners getting torched on both sides of the field, which isn't ideal. But he would cheat to one guy and then they just throw it to the other guy. That happens to him a lot, and I think he does that because he can't wait because he just doesn't have the speed to get over in time if he doesn't.
Yeah, the range isn't there.
Yeah. And also, you mentioned the arm tackles, Jake. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact he's really skinny at 6'3", 203.
Yeah,
I just think he can't square up, so I think he just tries to get to the side, wrap, and drag. That's just kind of what I wonder if he can put on a little weight, if that can go away. But again, is he what he is at 24 years old? And again, this is a guy that I think out of this class, I think, especially out of like the middle of the pack of this class, I think has the most potential to be an effective starter day one. Yeah. It's just, I just don't know what the ceiling is on him. And I don't know how much extra things he can do. Does have experience at nickel though. Worth noting.
Yeah. I didn't like I looked at some of the nickel stuff. It's not great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice that he's done it. Yeah, it's nice that he's done it, but I don't know if you're gonna ask him to outside of maybe some like tight end slot looks, right? Yeah. Like or whatever. But you guys hit it on the head. I think this is a player to me that like if you need just someone to play legit safety for you day one in this class, he's one of the best options you're gonna get. Now, is he gonna be more than like your standard issue like starting safety? Maybe not, but I think he's going to probably be at least that. You know, I don't really see him as a guy that's going to be this like abject failure, I should say. But is he going to be anything more than like a fringe starter for a lot of his career? Maybe not. But if you can get that in the 3rd round, that's okay. It's safety.
Yeah.
Like, you need guys who can just play back there. It's one of the reasons why, even though, again, Lewis Moore is someone who's like about as much of an outlier as it gets, I'd still probably take him in the 4th, 5th round just because I feel good that he's going to be able to kind of play safety for you. Like, it's a position that you need at least competence at, I think, if nothing else, right? Even if you don't always need or necessarily trying to shoot for, stardom there, you need guys who can actually play the position, and I think he can. So that gets you 5 in this class for at least Dalton and I. So, but my number 9, I still have to say, and this is a guy that I could see you guys either just not have gotten to or even just have higher than me at this point, maybe a little bit. Bud Clark is my number 9 safety out of TCU.
8 for
where
me.
do you guys have 8? Okay.
I have him at 5.
Okay, so
this is
the upside play. I get it. Takes care of our number 5s and 8 and 9 at this point now, actually. But I get it, Jake. Like the upside case for him. I feel like if someone like me, and I don't have him as high as you do, Jake, but like if you're someone like me where you can't get there with Genesis Smith because you just can't deal with the tackling issues and the angles and stuff like that, but you want an upside play as like a playmaking safety, this is probably your guy. Ton of playmaking and ball production for him at TCU. But there's a reason why he made so many plays is because he was willing to give up some too. He's very much a hyper-aggressive, ball hawking safety. And in the right scheme, I could see it working really well. Like if you have the right stuff around him to kind of protect him a little bit, more so than a college defense is going to be able to provide. It might be something that works. Kind of a different type of player a little bit, but akin to the Kalen Bullock situation with the Texans, where like he's a real huge playmaker, but doesn't do a whole lot else. Well, at least didn't early on in his career, but was able to work because of everything around him. In the right scheme, I could see him being an impact player relatively quickly, but he's a slighter framed guy, 6'1", 188, I think is what he weighed in at. He tested exactly how I'd expect for a guy with his movement skills to test, but the tackling is always going to be a little bit iffy because he's just not a very well-built guy. He's not a bad tackler, just a limited one because it's hard to tackle guys, downhill at that size. But I do think he could be a very fun piece of a defense depending on where he lands. So,
yeah. Do you want to go, Jake, or do you want me to go?
Oh, you can go first if you want.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, kind of what Shane said. The over aggressiveness is kind of the only thing keeping me from being a lot higher on him. That's one of the big things. I mean, the ball hawking skills at 15 picks in the last 4 years, flies around the field. I mean, he's just fun. That's kind of why I do like him, early day 3.
Me too. Yeah.
The speed's awesome. Not afraid of contact. Despite being 6'1", 188, finds ways to bring people down.
Right, exactly. He's not a bad tackler, but just it kind of looks a little ugly sometimes.
The main concerns, other than the over-aggressive nature, is man coverage just doesn't really redirect anybody.
Yeah.
And
I think he always opens his hips first, too.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And I think part of the redirection issue comes to, I think he's the only guy I wrote this about, or one of the few guys that actually wrote this as a concern. Hand size, 33rd percentile for hand size, and it does actually show up on tape. Because of the way he likes to defend in the hip pocket, when he tries to strike down, I do think him having a little bit smaller hands does limit his surface area of getting on the ball a little bit. It sounds silly, but I do legitimately think it's an issue.
As someone who's dealt with Kenny small hands, don't worry, I'm always there with you on the hand size. I'll listen to any argument about it. It's fine.
Same on some contested catch situations where it seems like he should have had a pick and drops it. I just wonder if that's part of it. And I think, the redirecting, I just don't know if he feels confident that he can actually get his mitts on somebody and affect them.
His kid gloves on someone.
Yeah. And, at this point he is what he is because he's a 6th-year senior.
There's that too. Which
I
had a 7th-year guy, so I wasn't going to hit him too hard for that, but still, yeah.
Yeah. I usually am not this high on older prospects like that, but I liked his tape a lot more than I thought he would.
Right.
He is just such good ball skills. He will stick his face in the fan against the run. He takes really good angles when he's able to come downhill and fill gaps and stuff like that. When it's sideline to sideline, he is a little too aggressive sometimes, which is kind of just his play nature.
Yeah.
But
100 miles an hour all the time.
Yeah. But I like him in man coverage and zone. He's a good tackler when plays are going to break and it's either he makes a tackle or a touchdown. I feel like he doesn't really give up many of those plays. Closes on the ball really quickly, good speed and athleticism. He can play in the slot. He can play deep. He can kind of do a lot of things. I did have I noted he has a few injury concerns.
Yes, he's been banged up.
So that is a little bit of a red flag. And I'd like him to take on blocks a little better. Other than that, my main concerns with him are just being over aggressive. In man coverage, like I mentioned, I feel like he always opens his hip too quickly. He will be moved by a QB because he'll go exactly where they look. And he will take some aggressive routes to balls down the field. There are some plays where it would be a deep crosser and he would just completely undercut it and he would get a fingertip on it to deflect it. But I'm like, dude, that is so.
Yeah, you're 1 inch away from being on a highlight reel for another player. It's kind of he's living on that razor's edge all the time.
Yeah. So I get the concerns with him for sure. And with him being an older prospect, I honestly did not think I'd like him as much as I did. But I kind of just really liked his film. I feel like He brings the heat against the tackling. If he could just take a little better angle sideline to sideline, that'd be a bit less of a worry for me. But he closes on the ball well. He's got to be less aggressive at the NFL level, but I think that's something that can be coached out. But I love him in coverage. He's willing to play the run. I don't know. I was just more impressed with him than I thought, and I think the potential is there if he can tone down the aggressiveness a bit. And yeah, I mean that's mainly it.
That's his biggest thing for sure. That's just noticeable right off the jump. It's like, oh boy, you want to make every play, and sometimes the play simply isn't there to be made, bud. Literally, bud.
He doesn't. There's no patience to the game. Like he'll go the first way the quarterback looks. He'll undercut every deep route, and he'll try to like predict the routes the receivers run in man coverage. But
that's okay.
When it works, it works.
Yeah, like it's okay, but you either need to be really up on your film study, or you got to be real sure about what you're doing. But yeah, I get it. All right, so actually, none of us have set our number 7 player, which means either we're all going to have the same one, or someone's going to be real upset with somebody about where they play somebody. So I'll bite the bullet first. My number 7 safety is Kamari Ramsey from USA.
Same.
Yeah, there we go.
Wow, look at that.
Bang, we did it. We did
our
it.
9s and 5s switched.
Yep, and all things are balanced as they should be. Don't copyright me, Thanos. So we have Kamari Ramsey from USA. We'll talk about them all together here. They kind of messed him up by playing him in the slot so much this year because he wasn't very good in the snaps that he played in the slot. And that's why at first I was like, oh man, I'm going to be really low on Kamari Ramsey. And I'm like, well, let me see if I could find a game where he played a lot more deep safety. And I did find one. And I think he's very much like a balanced safety that has some athletic limitations, but I think he's very sound in coverage. I think the tackling is good for being a split safety, and I think that's what he needs to be, like a true, like, I don't think he has the range to be a free safety. I don't know if I love him being super close to the box, but if you get him in the very common nowadays, like split safety alignment on a lot of defenses, I think he could really do well in that type of role. And if you can get that player in the 3rd round for a team that needs another starter in the secondary, like this feels to me like a good place for, like, there's a good player for like the Eagles if they wanted to get some new safety play in there because they lost some guys. Like that would make a lot of sense in Fangio's scheme for an example there. Like he would make a lot of sense like the 3rd, top of the 4th. So that's kind of the book on him in my opinion. Like there's not a ton that I had as far as takeaways on him other than the fact like do not play him in the slot, please.
No.
Level. Not what you should be doing. USC is weird with their defense sometimes, but whatever. Yeah.
He moves really well, but for some reason when he's like in the slot in man coverage, he just gives up a lot of separation, which I just
don't think he processes well from the slot in general. That's what it feels like.
But when he's deeper down the field, he just moves so smoothly. He can flip his hips really smoothly. There's one play against, I think it was Iowa, and he kind of got help because the quarterback basically threw a punt. But
that hurts saying that to Dalton.
He got
oh no.
Well, no, it wasn't like it was just this one play, but
okay.
I know what you're talking about.
He's in deep zone coverage and he kind of guesses the route wrong and the receiver gets a break on him. But he has to flip his hips and turn around like twice, and he does so smoothly and still gets back and forces an incompletion. And with a better pass, it would have probably been at least a better contested catch. But the way that he is able to recover with how smooth he can move deeper down the field, I really liked. Like he changes direction without losing a step. His back pedal is very crisp. He does a good job of tracking the quarterback's eyes. He triggers on the ball quickly. Just a lot of range. In man coverage, which I don't think he should be played in the slot. He, for some reason, like gives up a lot of separation. Doesn't really understand leverage there. His tackling is a little bit inconsistent. And there were a couple plays that it kind of looked like he just took the play off, which I was a little bit scared by. He has a few plays where he'll be near the ball carrier and kind of just look like he doesn't really want to hit him.
That's what playing for you.
But he can bring, I guess so. Yeah, he can bring some
Terrible.
pop. Like he has some big hits, but I would just like to see him a little higher of a motor, I guess. And then he's kind of slender, so that hurts him against some bigger matchups. But that's another thing that might hurt him more in the slot than deeper down the field. Yeah, just really smooth. And also he'll be 21 going into training camp, so lots of time
That's
for
always
development.
nice too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like you like the idea that he could do a lot of things, but I think overall, like having him play as like a cover 3 safety would be ideal.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I think, at least right away, what he's gonna do. Also, coming off a knee injury, so that's all something to acknowledge. But again, he's young enough where that's less of a concern. I have a late 3rd round grade on him because I think he could. There's a lot of potential there. Just like I said, it's kind of hard to gauge what he's going to be because wasn't necessarily used right.
Which again, going to USC as a defensive player in this era, I don't know. Maybe the judgment is the thing we need to be questioning with him. I'm just being mean to USC at this point.
No, not looking forward to D'Anton Lynn coming to Penn State.
Oh, that's right. Penn State.
And we just need more Manny Diaz types as defensive coordinator.
Yeah. Anyway, so the only one of us who hasn't given their number 6 player is me, and it's probably because I have Traden Stukes as the number 6 safety if I was going to play him as safety. He slot player for me, I think, is what he's going to be, but I think he could play a little bit of everything in terms of safety roles. Like he has the speed and athleticism to be a deep safety. Has the obviously the experience playing close to the line to be a box safety you need him to be. I'm going to be higher on him than I think a good amount of people are. I know he's a little bit older, obviously, as a player. That's part of the reason why some people are probably going to be a little bit lower on him, which is fine. I get that. But a guy with his athletic traits and size and ability to play the slot, and I, again, do think the safety spots too, to me is very much like a guy you take on the middle early day 2, even depending on how big of a need you have at slot. And just you find a way to make him impactful. The playmaking is very good too. Like he kind of put it all together in his last season. So definitely a player I like a lot, but I also talked a lot about him last week. So if you guys want to check out more about him, you can watch last week's show because that was, where we got more into that. So we're down to the last 4 guys here. Now, I think there's going to be maybe some variation here, but if there isn't, it might be a little bit different in terms of, especially to consensus, the grades we have on these players might be the biggest change. Dalton, just so you know, you are muted if you didn't remember that you're muted.
I was just going to say, I think grades might be a little bit different.
Right, because up to this point, because I don't know if I've called it out every time, my 10 through 5 safeties, I had early day 3 grades on 8, 9, and 10, late day 2 on Ramsey, midday 2 on Stukes, and a midday 2 on Zakee Wheatley. So that's where I've been. So no guys even really creeping up close to the first round yet. That will change here, soon here for sure. For me, at least. So I want to see Dalton, who's your number 4 safety.
So my number 4 and 3 do have the same grade. I have a late 2nd round grade on both these guys.
Okay.
I have AJ Halsey at 4 though.
Okay.
Same.
Me too. Okay, I thought that'd be the case. Now, I honestly thought going into this, just what I had heard about both players, that I might have Halsey above the guy I have at number 3, but I didn't quite get there. I still like that player a little bit more. But Halsey, I have an early day 2 grade on. I like this type of safety. Let me just get that out of the way. That's going to be part of it. He is not very tall, but he's not small. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
He's a big physical player, despite coming in right around 5'11" mark. As a safety, which isn't particularly big from a height perspective, but my notes on him, I'd like to do this for some of the top guys because I think it just gives a good idea of where I'm at with these guys. Again, AJ Halsey, safety out of LSU, well-built, high IQ safety with a few question marks in his game. Specifically, I'll get into them in a second. Physical downhill hitter who won't shy away from the run game. Zone IQ is among the best that I saw from this group. Honestly, like his ability to kind of read stuff out from a zone coverage look, especially for a guy that's going to be more of a true box player, most likely at the next level, even though I think he showed a lot of his best stuff as a deep safety. We'll get into that conversation a little bit too. I think he has enough range to be a viable free safety at times, but I do still think he fits best as like that robber, like middle of the field type of player, not so much as a deep safety.
Yeah.
Needs to clean up his missed tackles a little bit, but for safety, it's not that much of an issue. Quickness is lacking to play man, so I do think in man situations, unless it's running backs or some tight ends, like asking him to play, against even like a decently quick like receiver, either in the slot or just kind of an off look from him, might get you in trouble with him just because he does have some stop-start issues there. Bigger guy, again, he's 215 at 5'11", like that. A big, thickly built safety is basically the best way to say it. But I really like this type of player, and I think that he could be an immediate starter for a team that needs that, especially like I said, box type, robber-ish type of safety. So,
yeah, he don't put him in man coverage. He
generally, I don't think you should.
Yeah, he's not slow, but like he can cover a lot of ground, but in coverage, he's not quite as quick. And he's not super quick in short areas.
No.
And I feel like he knows that because some of his reps in the slot last year, like he kind of played pretty far off the receiver. Like he was almost kind of afraid of getting beaten, man.
He's well aware of the problem.
Yeah.
He knows.
But when he's able to kind of just sit in the middle of the field, he reads and reacts to things so well.
Mm-hmm.
Like super quick processing speed. He understands what route combinations are coming at him. Really good ball skills. Always able to get his hands on the ball. Kind of played all over the defense at times, and he is a really good run defender. In one, I actually wrote this down. In 2023, he played Fresno State. He had 24 tackles in one game.
That's what playing for
just insane. Like just insane. I mean, like he can come down and set the edge as a runner. He can fill gaps. He can go sideline to sideline. He'll go through traffic to get to the ball carrier. Like I just feel like the floor is so high with a player like him. If you use him the right way, because he's gonna play the run well. And he's really good at just kind of sitting in the middle of the field and reacting to things. He can read QB's eyes. React to routes really quickly, good ball skills. So I just think like the floor is so high with a player like that he kind of has to be this high on the list.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny you guys mentioned the run stuff. That was my first note is at 222 really does have the mass to not get washed against the run, even at the next level. Like he can get up there and run support and be all right. Love the coverage skills. Follows the zone cover skills, especially the way he gets depth, follows quarterback's eyes, reads and reacts. Very quick to diagnose, as you guys said. I do worry about the change of direction in the open field.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, 20%, almost a 20% missed tackle rate last year, and a lot of it's open field. Like, if he's just if he's out in no man's land with somebody, he's getting cooked. Like that's just
that is an issue with him, and I think it's very specific to that situation, obviously, which is something you have to worry about.
That's the thing where it's not. Yeah, I think the main reason why I'm only on a late second round grade and not having him closer to he won't be in my top 50 is I think he is more of a box safety, and I don't know if he has the quickness to be a really effective blitzer, which you'd want in a high-end box safety. That's something that you want him to be a little more of an issue as a blitzer. And I just don't think he has the quickness to get home.
I get that. Yeah, I understand that part of it. I think I'm hoping, and like he's not exactly the same type of player, but it's similar build and similar like profile. You hope that he can be Landon Collins, like that type of player.
Yeah.
Where he's a bigger bodied safety, but has good athleticism, especially in a straight line. Is kind of a little bit lacking linear, but he can, when he gets a chance to make a play on the ball, he can crash down and make plays on it. Like his game against Texas A&M in particular is really fun. Like he robbed the middle of the red zone and took a play back for a nice intercept. Like he can do a lot of that type of stuff. So high hopes for him. I think a team that really needs safety help on day 2 is really going to focus on him, obviously, among this group. Because the other 3 guys that we haven't talked about, I think are going to either go at least a good bit higher than him or closer to first round and higher. So speaking of which, let's get to number 3. Now, do we all have the same 3? That's kind of the big question for a lot of people at this point, I feel like. But I'll let Jake start off here.
I have Dylan Tiedemann.
Oh, you have him at 3.
Never mind.
Okay. Yeah, I'm at 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was hard though. It was a hard decision to make, but I ended up pushing him down to 3.
Gotcha. Yeah, 2 for me as well.
Yeah, I figured he probably would be. I really, really like his game. I mean, the athleticism is really impressive. His combine, like he tested really well at the combine. 41-inch vert in a 4.3 40-yard dash. Just really, really athletic. And that gives him a lot of versatility on defense. He's got a really high motor. He moves really well in zone coverage. Good ball skills. He's capable of taking tight ends down the field in coverage. Willing to come down and play the run. He fills gaps really well. He's really good as a blitzer, and he also brings some special teams value. It was really close between him and my number 2, but there were just a few things that I didn't really like. I mean, he's a really athletic player, but he doesn't move that quickly laterally, and he doesn't change direction especially quickly. And that also kind of hurts him in the run game a little bit against, I feel like he misses a lot of tackles on cutbacks where he's just not as laterally quick as ball carriers. And he also tackles a little bit high against the run, I thought. And he kind of causes him to not get run over, but get knocked back a little bit. There's just not a huge amount of play strength overall. When he is in man coverage, I think the lack of lateral quickness and just a little bit of tight hips hurt him a little bit. So those things to me, and I know that he's going to go into training camp being 21. So there's a lot of time for that room to grow, but I just was a little more worried about those things and kind of the hip tightness, how that might hurt him against the run and in coverage a little bit. But with that said, I mean, really, really exciting player. I mean, he's very explosive, very smart. And I think those two things give him a really high ceiling, but it just wasn't enough for me to get to 2, but it was very, very close. So I certainly understand why you guys would have him at 2.
Yeah. Where do you have him as, what round grade did you have on him?
I had a late first.
Okay. That's where I'm at on him as well.
Yeah. Me too, actually. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think he kind of nailed it. There are some concerns, especially against the run. He tends to go around rather than through blockers. I noticed. I do worry about the physicality, but he is active against the run. But I do think he is. I do think at the end of the day, what you want him to do, if you're gonna spend a first round pick on him, you're gonna stick him in center field and say, go get ball. Whenever the ball is deep, go get it. That's kind of what you're going to tell him to do. You're going to tell him to use that 4.3 speed to just run stuff down and I think part of it is he is effective enough as a tackler where I'd like to see him not leave his feet as much. I think he does that because he needs to put on a little more mass. But again, he's young enough where I think those things, I do think there's enough potential for him to grow into that role as that air traffic control center field, police the middle of the field type safety. That's kind of what I think you just get out of him. The speed is the biggest thing, probably speed and just good ball skills and instincts. So
he was an interesting eval for me because the first thing that jumps off the page is just the movement skills are simply rare for a player at this position. It just is. You don't see. And I will say one thing I noticed, Jake, and this is, again, this can vary from person to person, but I didn't really see as much hip tightness with him as I think you did overall. Especially, I didn't notice it pop on the screen as an issue for me really much. And I think specifically one of the reasons why I have him at 2 ahead of it's Emmanuel McNeil is 5 at 3. I'm sure that's where Dalton's at 2. Ultimately, he can and has shown the ability to be a true center fielding safety. And I think that is just a rarer skill set to find. And I think that props him above him a little bit, because having the ability to do that, even if it's not as used as in the NFL as it's been, and it's not as valuable as a skill set as it may have been 10, 15 years ago, knowing that I can ask this guy to just cover a ton of ground in the back of the defense if I need him to for anything specific is just something that most safeties can't really do effectively, especially ones who are also good enough to play other spots on the field. So I think the thing that kept him from being a mid to, even earlier first round grade, which is where a lot of people are at with him at this point, and you guys talked about it, like he's not very physical against the run in the sense that he may want to be or try to be, but he just can't quite do it right now. And he just doesn't really have any stopping power as a tackler. Like when he hits people, they don't really go backwards. Like it's just kind of a thing, which is, it doesn't have to be a problem as a safety. Like you just need to focus on getting guys to the ground. He's very good. He did not miss many tackles. Like it was not a huge issue for him at all. But he also wasn't stopping guys in the hole when he did meet them there. He wasn't really ending a ton of plays quickly as a tackler. So if he can improve on that, maybe add a little bit more bulk without sacrificing too much movement ability, you could be looking at it like a true every down, like do it all safety for multiple alignments. And that's certainly worth taking as early as he's probably going to go if he develops into that. But I don't know if I'm quite there yet with that. So
yeah, I think that's where like positional value factors. And now if he does end up being like if he ends up being able to like follow guys around in the slot and do all that,
right, that's different.
That'd be great. But like we talked about this earlier, like you mentioned it, Shane, like for like that deep safety role, you just sometimes you just want somebody that can do it. Somebody that can go back there and do it. And it's like, now he's going to do it really, really well, but like how high are you drafting that guy?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And again, it's just an athlete like this that has the pedigree that he is coming from the season he had at Purdue as a freshman to now moving to Oregon and doing what he did. Like, it makes a lot of sense to bank on that guy. It does. So I'm not going to blame anyone taking him in the top 20 of this draft. I think he's going to go in the top 20 of this draft. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. But yeah, I don't blame people for being pretty high on him. So, but let's get to Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, who is Jake's number 2, I presume, safety.
Yeah.
And Dalton is number 3. Yeah. He's a fun player, and Toledo just keeps doing it, man. Good for them. They figured out one thing, which that's awesome. Yeah. Good for them. Hey, they'll be able to say, hey, if you want to play DB in the NFL, come to Toledo, which is awesome to be able to say and actually mean it, which is fantastic. But he's a really fun player, big rangy safety with the tools to be a true difference maker as a box player. He's sound in coverage. I think he can flip his hips better than you would guess for a guy who's like 6'3", 200 and some pounds. Like, he moves better than you would anticipate. I don't think he's a great athlete, but he's a good one, especially size-adjusted athleticism for the position. Kind of tested more like a guy that you'd expect to be a smaller but also still bigger, like, weight-wise safety, but he's a lot taller than a lot of those guys are. He missed too many tackles specifically in 2025, but his missed tackle rate prior to that was a lot better. So I'm wondering if, like, maybe just playing at Toledo got kind of boring for him, I hate to say, which isn't necessarily a good thing on his profile, but like sometimes it kind of looked like that. Like his angles as a run defender too, not quite Genesis Smith bad, but some of that level stuff occasionally popped up, which get a little bit worried about that. But I think his overall frame and his ability to be a run defender is very good. Like he will come down and really hit people, and he's a physical player. He just needs to clean up some of that type of stuff, which I think he will, just playing not at Toledo probably. He's definitely a playmaker mentality for sure too. Like we'll try to get in the passing lanes. We'll try to punch the ball out. Like he's a guy that's probably going to be getting 3 to 4 forced turnovers a year on average, if I had to guess, just with the way he tries to play. Again, the overall profile for him, like if you need like a true like guy in the middle of the defense and not as a linebacker, but I'm talking as that like box safety, this is the prototype for that type of player. And I think it's worth taking late on day 1, but ideally top of day 2 is kind of where I'm looking at him right now. So
yeah. I would like to see him put on a little bit more weight, but I think at his frame he can, because he's kind of, I think he's
a little wiry,
kind of tall and long. So I would like to see him add a little bit more weight, but he plays above his weight. I mean, he's very physical in the run game. There's a few times on film where he's just like destroying these poor MAC running backs. Like
this guy should not have been allowed to play in the MAC. Like there's no way.
They should have made him enter the transfer.
Yeah, dude, go get a bag and go to the NFL.
But yeah, he's very, very active around the line of scrimmage. Knows how to fill gaps. I thought his tackling was pretty reliable. He's pretty strong in his upper body, despite having kind of a wiry build. He really closes on the ball well. He can make like the physical hits to separate receivers from the catch point. He's not, compared to Tiedemann, he's not as good of an overall athlete, which is hard to do.
It's not really saying anything.
Yeah, he's a pretty solid athlete though.
Yeah.
He's got decent speed. He did a lot of different things in Toledo's secondary. I think a lot of his issues come with just being over aggressive, which I think, like kind of as you said, he might have gotten bored playing at Toledo. Like he's a splash play hunter. I mean, he had 9 forced fumbles in 4 years at Toledo. Like he's just ripping the ball out. A lot of passes defended, a lot of interceptions, and I don't know how much of that is because he was playing in the MAC for all 4 years, and it's just a little bit lower level competition as if he was in like the Big Ten or the SEC. But I mean, sustained like turnover forcing plays throughout his career.
Right.
He does get a bit aggressive. I think in man coverage, he just opens his hips too late sometimes.
Yeah, he's a little late. There's another note I want to make on him, but keep going. Sorry. Go
Yeah, no, you're good. But yeah, I'm pretty much done. He knows that he's really good for the MAC, and so he gets aggressive. And I kind of want to see how that transitions to the NFL. Like once he knows he's at a higher level, if he'll tone it down a little bit. But I think with him, kind of the reason I had him above, and again, it was really close between the two, but I just thought some of his flaws, even though he's a year or two older, were a little bit more like workable than Tiedemann's, even though like, they both don't have many. But I had the same grade, late first round on him, so kind of in the same boat with the two. Shane, I have seen a lot of Steelers smoke with.
I have, and at 21, simply can't do it.
It feels a little bit early. It feels a little bit early, but I mean,
not for this
team. I
team.
like it a lot.
Yeah, not for this team, and not at 21. Like if you could trade up in the second round, if you don't like, if maybe the guards go earlier than you expect, and he's still on the board, I could see that he would make a good, long-term replacement for really. Probably Deshaun Elliott, I guess, really is who it would be at that point because that's more his play style. But I have heard that. I've heard Thieneman too, which I think he might be gone.
Yeah.
One anyway, so we'll talk about that. Before you talk any more about Dalton, I did want to point this out because I'm wondering if you guys also saw this. Now, I was admittedly alerted to this because I had caught the Safeties episode of the NFL Stock Exchange show, which I'm wearing the hat of right now. They with Trevor and Connor, they talked about how and it was crazy once I saw it myself. He like 90% of the time is trying to put his mouth guard in before the play starts and failing to do so.
I missed that.
So if
there's two types of safeties. There's ones who just like wear a mouth guard but don't put it in for the entire game.
Yeah.
And then there's the other type is just every time the camera's on them, they're just like messing with it.
Fiddling with it. I'm telling you, every time, like I would say at least 7 out of 10 plays, the mouth guard is trying to be put in. The play has started. He's still putting it in, and then he starts doing something. And it's like, I swear, if he wasn't playing in the MAC, it would probably have been.
I was gonna say that's a MAC level.
But because he was in the MAC, I don't think it mattered at all, really. But I wonder if he keeps doing it in the NFL, if he might get caught like flat-footed one time, and the coach doesn't let him have a mouth guard.
There really are a lot of snaps where, like, his first 3 steps, his hand is just right here.
Exactly, that's what it is. He's putting his mouth guard in. Isn't that hilarious to me? Like, I think that's awesome. It's so funny.
Yeah, that's something that he's never going to get yelled at for at Toledo because he's the best player on the team.
Exactly.
But as soon as he gets to the NFL, he is going to get reamed out.
Yeah, or they're going to just not let him have one straight up. They're like, you can't have one if you're not going to put it in your mouth before the play starts. Like, it's just so funny.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add there?
Yeah, so I know you guys are both late first round on him.
Mm-hmm.
I am late second on him.
Okay.
So to be the wet blanket. I mean,
Anyway, yeah.
hate saying it, but I love like the power he brings. He does like my first note was brings the thunder. Really does. And I think there's tons of potential in a box role, but I do wonder if that's what he's limited to at the next level, because when he does play more coverage, tends to kind of react a little late at times.
Too busy
And
putting
I
the
don't know
mouth
if he
guard in.
gets enough depth. Yeah. What's that?
Too busy putting the mouth guard in.
Yeah, exactly. Which might also be why he doesn't get enough depth, like in all honesty.
I don't know.
But like that was something I noticed, and then with that, the long speed is just okay. I do like he does let himself get beat over the top a little too easily. Like, caught it a couple times in the Kentucky game.
Yes.
When he actually played against actual like college football players.
I made sure to watch that game twice because I was like, I want to see what this looks like. And I was like, some really good, other stuff. And that's the thing is there was a play specifically where he turned and ran with a post and got there and broke it up. I'm like, all right, I'm good with it. I'm happy to see that.
Yeah.
Okay. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's the thing. He did get there, but also that's some Kentucky receiver that we're probably never going to talk about on this show because
it's an SEC guy. Come on, what's he gonna do?
But
yeah,
but
I'm just
you know what I mean. Yeah. And then also like you guys mentioned the tackling, like missed tackle rate of almost 25% in 2025, and I know it's like a lot of it's big play hunting, but like, dude,
it was much better other seasons, which is why I'm like, he must be something weird about this. Like, I don't think he suddenly forgot how to tackle. Like, it'd be different if it was always that bad. I'd be like, all right, buddy, it's the Mac. Let's not fuck up this bad all the time. Come on.
And that's the the Mac of it all does make it hard to like really like get a good read on him. I don't know. I worry about taking him super high. And I think he's going to just miss my top 50 because, like Halsey, I think at the end of the day, at the next level, he's box safety. And if that's all you're having him do, as someone who's watched teams try to take a pure box safety in the first round and it be a disaster.
Wait, do you know what that's like?
Jonathan Abram.
Of course. Jonathan Abram
in the first round.
That was one of the picks of all time.
Yeah. That's kind of why I worry about taking, not that I think he's obviously a much better player than that, but I do worry about taking somebody that's limited in a role like that higher than like late second.
You know what's funny is that same draft was the one they took Cleveland Farrell in the first round.
Yep.
They came away with first round picks of Jonathan Abram and Cleveland Farrell.
And the one that they hit on doesn't play for them anymore either.
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah. Jingleheimer.
That's quite the haul.
Yeah.
And then of course they then had to use their 6th round pick last year to replace Jacobs rather than just pay him.
Correct. So what are you gonna do? Anyway, number one, it was always going to be Caleb Downs, despite the fact that apparently Dalton thinks he's undraftable. Apparently,
no, I just said he's further down in my top.
I love how every time
just not
a little bit more on somebody.
I just don't think he's going to be top 5. That's all. That's all I said pre-show.
Sorry, I had to stir up some controversy. No, I can understand a little bit of that. I think in a class that wasn't this one, which that sounds bad, but you get the point. I could definitely see him being around that range for me. He's going to be in my top 5 players. I promise you that much at this point. Mostly because I think that this is about as clean, especially as a cover player at safety, that you'll ever find in the draft, in my opinion. Like he's a good enough athlete where it doesn't really. It's not that he isn't a great athlete. But the fact that he is a very good athlete, we don't have the testing on him, but like you can tell he's a good athlete. You don't go into the SEC and start as a freshman at 18 years old if you're not a good athlete. It just doesn't happen. But it's the fact that even if he wasn't one, I don't know how much more it would matter because he is so unbelievably smart as a cover player, to the point where it honestly freaked me out sometimes, because I'm watching, I'm like, oh shit, I would have thrown a pick there. Oh, it's literally just, it was kind of, you know how we talked about with D'Angelo Pons, like he'd make you think that there was something open, and then suddenly it wouldn't be, and you're like, oh shit, that's a Madden pick for me. Like I get usered in that situation. That's what Downs is as a safety in a lot of ways, but obviously different than a corner doing that. But there's so many times where he took throws away that I thought for sure were there until they weren't. That I just started being like, all right, this guy he's pretty much just like rage baiting the quarterback. Like he's pretty much just trying to do that every game. And it was so just like cool to see a player be able to do that at the college level, especially because guys like this, especially ones who've started and done this type of thing for 3 years in a row and are still a young player, you just don't see it very often at the end of the day. Like it's just not something you see every day. So that's the thing that a lot of people will talk about with him, and that stands out. And that's very much the case. But I do, especially from you, Don, I kind of want to hear your thoughts on him, because I want to know if there's something truly different about our evaluations. And I'm assuming, Jake, you're kind of on board with where I'm at with him, if I had to guess, as being a top 5 player in this class. Is there something truly different about our evaluations, or is it just that you don't value him quite as much because of the position, maybe? So
I think part of it's positionally, but to be very clear, love all like the traits. I mean, love, like the tape is awesome. Like the way he gets down in a hurry, the versatility to like literally play slot
everywhere.
It doesn't matter because
he just appears on the field everywhere, and you're like, oh shit, what the fuck? Like, get out of here.
High motor with a high football IQ and that much of an athletic freak. I mean, it's just awesome. It's funny though, he is one of those guys where I did have a strength and I wrote the same thing for a strength and a concern. I wrote big play hunter as a strength.
Oh yeah.
And concern, big play hunter.
Yeah.
It works for him, especially at the college level, because again, he's so good. But in the NFL, it might he might have to tone that down a little bit. Also, when he is up in the box, I do think arm length sometimes creates a disadvantage taking on blocks. And he does have a tendency to leave his feet when tackling. So that's some of the, I do worry about like some limitations of what of how effective he's going to be in the box. And also in zone, I thought the feel could have been better in zone. I think part of it sometimes is he's just looking too much for a big play and looking to make a play rather than staying where he needs to be in his zone, I think. And part of that is he knew he was the best player in that secondary, and so he ran around and made plays. I do think at the NFL level, he's going to need to adjust and do his job.
Yeah, I think a lot of the things with him are like, not that he's not serious, obviously, but you kind of have to be a little bit more serious about things like taking over aggressive angles or, big play hunting, as Dalton said. Another thing, he a lot of times just goes to try to destroy somebody with the shoulder and doesn't wrap up. Little things like that, I think, will need to be cleaned up. But I think he's the best player in this draft class, personally. I'm really, really high on him. I just think in pretty much every area, this is a perfect NFL defender. He can play outside cornerback, he can play nickel, he can play safety. He got snaps at inside and outside linebacker at times. No injury concerns. He's very smart. There's one game against Michigan where there's one play he's blitzing off the edge and then notices the running back break out behind him on the flat and just immediately goes out and takes that away. There's another play. He's in cover 2 and he takes the deep route, peels off of it because he notices the flat coming underneath. It just levels the receiver as soon as the ball gets there. He's very good in zone coverage. He knows how to pass off routes, pick them up on time, closes on the ball very quickly, especially coming downhill. Very good in man coverage. He can line up on the line of scrimmage and stick with you down the field. His hips are fluid. He he could be a little bit stronger in the box, but he takes on blocks with strength. That guy, you can have him near the line of scrimmage as a blitzer. He just does so many different things well defensively. And then he's also a special teams threat. 2 punt returns for a touchdown in college.
Oh yeah, he can just do that by the way if you want.
Yeah, he's just 10 career punt returns for 185 total yards and 2 touchdowns. And some of those are going to be against like shitty college special teamers. But I mean, he's good. Like he's just really, really good. Yeah, I don't know. I just think I think I'll have to watch some of these guys again, but I think he has an argument to be the best player in the class.
I think I'm in that same boat. I think he's going to be closer to 5 for me. I have to once I finish up some rewatches of guys, I'll kind of finalize that here soon. But I think you talked about the Dalton, and I get where you're coming from. But I actually kind of think, at least from what I've heard about him and kind of what was asked of him, I think a lot of the stuff that you're talking about with like him doing his job and not doing as much crazy stuff, I kind of think that was his job for this Ohio State team, was to do those things. Like, I think Matt Patricia gave him the freedom and flexibility to be like, I want you to go out there and erase problems for me. Like, do not let opposing offenses get away with stuff just because they beat this defense. Make them still be wrong. And I think he did that in a way that you just don't see from college players, generally speaking. And will that stick that way in the NFL? Probably not to the same level, because it's just usually you don't get guys that are at that level, but maybe he will just be that type of player. Like we've seen safeties kind of play in that way before. I don't know if I want to even say it's a comp, but the type of player that I think he could end up being, and when this player is healthy, he's one of the best defensive players, honestly, especially at the safety position, but just an all-around defensive back. Antoine Winfield Jr. for the Buccaneers is kind of who you hope that he could be, that level of player where you can play him all over the field. He is a playmaker. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he hits you, like does kind of everything for you and can be the kind of the centerpiece of your defense, despite not being a edge rusher or an interior player, like the guy that makes everything work for you. So that's the hope with him. If you get that, taking him in the top 10 is going to be well worth it. I still wonder if he's going to go any higher than around like 8 or 9 or 10. Like I think there's been some talk about him at 5 and like with the Giants or maybe ahead of a guy like Sonny Styles. Like you start getting into conversations about obviously the positional versus the positional value. I'm sorry. I mean, that becomes the whole thing. In this draft, I kind of just don't care that much, frankly.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of getting to that point where I'm like, man, like once you get past like the obvious quarterback pick, and like I still think Bain should be the number 2 pick, but I know that's not going to happen. Like once you get past some of those guys, it's like I kind of can get down with a lot of stuff. So, but they get down. So anyway, that wraps up our safety rankings. Obviously, there'll be some other guys that we try to catch, and maybe they'll end up a little bit higher on our final boards when we do that soon. But Dalton, take us away on our second part of our show today.
So, yeah, we got a special Thursday and Friday episodes coming this week.
We do.
As we compete in Epic Mock this week, which if you are in the NFL draft circles on Twitter, you've probably seen ads for at some point, because we are one of 32 podcasts that will be participating in this mock draft hosted by draft professors on their main show. And basically the way it is 32 podcasts compete against each other in mock drafts. Each podcast has a team, and we'll be doing a war room.
Yep.
So we will likely the draft starts at 6:30. We'll probably start up around 6 and kind of go through our big board and kind of plan out what we're looking to do. But we are going to be taking on the Chargers. So
yes,
tonight I think we're just kind of go over. You're going to kind of hear us give you a preview of what the War Room show is going to look like on Thursday and Friday night. Thursday is the first round. Friday is 2 and 3. If you want to keep following rounds 4 through 7, just watch Draft Professors.
Yeah, they'll cover it well. We'll be taking a break and trying to exist probably.
We'll still be picking.
Yes.
We'll still be making picks in that, but the talk will be over there.
Yeah, it'll be over there. Yeah.
But yeah. So to give you kind of a preview what that war room is going to look like, we're kind of going to I figured we can kind of just strategize a little bit, see like what our draft capital looks like, and kind of talk about what we need to get out of this draft and what our draft strategy should kind of be. And the idea is we're trying this. It is a mix of like what we like and who we're high on, but also it is through the Harbaugh Chargers lens to an extent.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. So we are going to be taking on this is kind of if we were trying to be the Chargers war room in a sense. Like obviously skewed a little bit, like Dalton said, to what we would prefer to do, but still within that framework of like, would this work for what the Chargers are trying to build, what Harbaugh wants, what Ortiz wants over there as the GM? Like, how does that line up with what they are trying to accomplish? And to kick us off, we all kind of know, I think, and unfortunately, I'm not expecting this to be an option, but we have to start with it. The dream is Vega Ioane from Penn State at 22, at pick 22, or the Chargers pick in the first round. That is the dream. Do I expect that to happen, even in a mock that's not, again, going to line up exactly with what the teams are going to do, but trying to do that? No, I think he's going to go ahead of 22. And they don't really have, and just to reiterate, so for the Chargers, they have picks 22, 55, 86, their picks, I believe, in all those rounds. Also 123, but then other than that, just the 204th pick in the 6th round. That's all they got. So their original picks 1, 2, 3, and 4 rounds, 6, and that's it. Not going to have capital, especially if we're using any this year, to try to move up for a guy like Vega Ioane, which is why the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is if he isn't there, do we immediately look to trade down and try to recoup some picks to use in the draft and try to target someone later down the board, potentially for the interior offensive line?
I am kind of leaning that way, unless like someone falls that we don't expect.
That's unexpected. Yeah, like
which we can talk about that in a second.
Sure.
Question first I want to ask is, we can't trade up, right?
No, I don't. I don't think so. So, like you could say that maybe you give up some 2027 picks, but this is a team that doesn't really want to do that. I don't think. Like, if anything, that's why the trade back kind of feels like what the move should try to be if we could find something.
I agree.
Think that's what they'd rather want to do.
Bigger on Herbert right now.
For sure. Yeah. Like they were not aggressive in free agency and they have a ton of money to spend next year. I don't know when they're going to ever spend it, but I think that they are not looking at this as like, oh, we have to strike right now, like give up the farm to get whatever. They're trying to build something sustainable here. And it's not like Herbert's, 32 or something. Like he has plenty of time left and he is the big arm pocket passer. I don't necessarily think he's going to age poorly in any way. So they're trying to build this right away. I think trading up would not be something they'd probably look to do.
Yeah, and it's hard to say you're in win now mode when like your offense is designed around having 2 great tackles and they're both coming off of ACL.
Yes, that's part of the problem. And you had Mekhi Becton, who looks a lot more like Mekhi Becton previous to the Eagles than he did with the Eagles.
Yeah,
that didn't help either. Also, the worst center in the league. Mercifully retired. That's cool. They did address that with, I believe it was Biotish, right? They brought in free agency to be the center. So that's a huge upgrade. Even though Biotish is kind of like a middle pack center, that's a lot better than what they got last year, most likely. So still the interior though, I think is a big need there.
I want to run through some names that I'm curious what you guys think if they fell. Okay. You'd be interested in taking. So. Here's one. Keldrick Falk.
No.
No?
No.
Not for me.
At 22?
Yeah, not for me personally.
No. I'm not a Keldrick Falk guy.
But I also think he's an interior player personally. That's where I still think with him. But Fair type, though.
Peter Woods. Or TJ Parker for that matter.
God, me personally, Woods is so weird, man.
I might go Parker.
Yeah, Parker would probably be between the two. I'd feel more confident about. I also think he's their type of edge.
Yeah, I agree.
Woods, like I want to like him, but he's really making it hard this offseason. Like this draft cycle, like the testing was weird and not very good, and he's like, I kind of hurt. and you dropped weight from the year. The whole thing with him is just strange. Like, I'm not sure where he's going to land on my board personally, but I don't know if I would take him at 22. So
fair.
Yeah.
Any interest in wide receiver?
I think if the problem is, this is a team that I think should, if he's there, be willing to take the chance on Tyson, because you have a competent wide receiver room, I think, right now, if everyone's healthy. But if you get a healthy Jordan Tyson in this group and is to be the actual like receiver one, and he can stay healthy, that would be awesome. But the problem is he'd be going to the Chargers, which means he certainly isn't going to be healthy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
that's the only problem. That's the only problem. But from a pure, like, he's there, kind of have to take him perspective, I could see that. But I would be worried about the injuries with him.
From what I've heard in like the draft community, I don't think he's going to be there at 22.
I don't think so either.
I think there's enough people just in general that are in love with him that someone's going to take him in the top 15.
I think his floor might be the Jets at 16.
Yeah.
Because they don't care about this year anyway. Like, if he's banged up and needs to figure out, like, they could care less. Like, Geno Smith is going to be sacrificed to the gods this year.
Yeah.
And it already happened last year by accident. Now this year.
Also, the Jets don't care about missing on picks. Like,
because they're going to usually anyway. So
yeah, like they can kind of afford to take risks because at the end of the day, worst case scenario, they're still the Jets.
Yeah, and they're also all fired anyway if it's bad. So who cares? And if you take a player who might be awesome,
already, it can't get worse.
That is true. That is that element. But yeah, so he's a guy that I don't think would necessarily be there anyway. But I think if he was, they'd have to at least think about it. But it'd just be tough with them. You know how I feel about Casey Concepcion, but I think he's a little too much like McConkey in the sense that very much like explosive separator types. I'm not sure if you need two of those guys, especially when you could move back at that point. As far as receiver goes, I think this is a fun one. I don't think he's going to be here either at this point. But what if Sadiq is there at 22?
I was gonna ask that. The problem is Gaston looks so good.
He is, but also like Sadiq is just a better prospect. And why not?
I feel like you could also have you could have them both out there at the same time though. And
just tell defenses good luck with that shit.
But then, are you telling Sadiq to put on weight and do more actual tight end things? Honestly, Gaston's not doing them.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, I would just say tell defenses, hey, good luck covering both these guys at the same time.
If Sadiq is there at 22, that's going to be hard for me to
I don't think he will be. By the way,
up. I don't think he will be either. But if he is,
but yeah, that's something I wanted to at least bring up the possibility because he would essentially be
them in 13 personnel. Because they need Disley to actually be the blocking tight end.
Fake 13 personnel would actually go really hard for that team if that's what they did. Like, you could theoretically just stick Gadsden as like a pseudo outside receiver and tell him, hey, the corner can't touch you at all. They can't. You're too big for that guy. Just make him run with you. You know what I mean? Like, that would probably work a little bit. Like, he wouldn't separate, but it'd draw the attention of that guy because he'd have to cover him. Like, so you can't just let him go. So it'd be a weird like scheme fit situation. But like, I don't know if as good as Gadsden was at times last year, I don't know if he's preventing me from taking Kenyon Sadiq. Like, I just don't know if that's the case. So,
especially if you're Harbaugh, I think like that is.
Yeah, because Sadiq, as much as he's a smaller player, he is a motherfucker as a blocker. Like, he wants to like be a blocker. He really does. It doesn't always work out for him, but.
Yeah, and we talked about the Chargers being a home for like one of the top tight ends last year, and none of them ended up being available by the time they picked.
They had to take Mr. Fake tight end, and it kind of worked out, but still.
But they didn't really get an actual tight end last year.
No, they didn't. And that's why they brought in Charlie Kohler, by the way, to be an actual tight end. So there's that. And he's good. Don't laugh, Dalton. He's a good player. He's a good blocker. He can do a little bit of stuff. But no, I think that's something to consider too. I think someone who not so much that I think is going to this wouldn't necessarily be a fall, but I would love the fit here. Definitely a Harbaugh guy, despite where he played in college, Cade McDonald's a sneaky option for them.
Yeah.
22. Like,
yeah, I've seen that
It's
a
a
lot.
little high for me.
me too, a little bit, but like not so much that I'd be like, I can't do it. And also, like, that would really free up the rest of what they have going on up front
Yeah.
to kind of be good.
Yeah.
That's where I do love the idea of like trading back to like 28.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I think you trade back to 28, then like yeah, you're looking at guys like McDonald or any of like I mean, even that would be kind of where I'd start to be okay-ish with taking like someone like Banks or one of the edge rushers.
Mm-hmm.
Probably maybe one of the edge rushers more like.
Personally, I'd be comfortable if you trade to the back end of the first round. I'd be comfortable considering the next tier of interior players. I've grown on Pregnon even a little bit more. Like, he's still an early day 2 player for me, but I think he'd be a really good fit for what McDonald does. Not McDonald, excuse me. McDaniel does in the zone running scheme, especially because he was dominant as zone blocker with Oregon. Like, I think that would make a lot of sense. Would help them with pass protection assuredly, just because he's a wall there. Not quite to the level you want he is. Obviously, that's why he probably won't be here 22. But that would make a lot of sense. But if I'm taking him, I'd rather move into the second a little bit, like get some extra capital from that. But that's obviously an option too if you want to take from that market. I am trying to think of who else, like, because as a potential faller, that would make sense for them. I mean,
It depends on like who we think would actually fall.
that's the thing. Because like especially like falling and not just like you probably should be there anyway.
I mean, any of the Tennessee guys at corner.
I mean, if McCoy was a 22, I mean, I'm taking him personally.
If
But
McCoy,
I don't think he's making it there though at this point. Not with his testing the way it worked out. Even in the Epic Mock situation, I don't think that's terribly early for Hood. But I'd still rather trade down and take him if you can.
Yeah.
But because I do like him a
not
good
as
bit.
big a need for them.
It's not, because especially if they want to try to keep up that same type of defense that they've been playing.
The Moneyball defense.
The Moneyball defense. And it does, though. Like, it might take a hit, obviously, with Minter gone. But, like, if they want to keep up that same style, they don't really have to draft corners high to keep that going. I think, honestly, again, I still think the more we talk about it, trading back from 22 if you want he's not there is probably going to be the thing I like the most to try to do.
Agree.
It's just who do we move down with and who wants to come up, who's there to come grab, like that's going to be the question that we have to answer at the time.
Yeah. I can tell you who's interested in moving up.
Someone already, because you're in the group that have been talking about it. So, because we could try to think about that now then, yeah.
So I'm trying to see if there is any, if there are any like changes, if anybody actually moved up.
Oh yeah.
I don't see anything on there.
Okay. Gotcha.
But I know teams that were looking to move up. It was I'm just going back through.
Mm-hmm. While you're doing that,
I think the Eagles might be. And
that'd be just a one spot move, yeah.
Yeah, that really wouldn't be much of a move though. Yeah. Apparently, the Niners are looking to move up. I don't know if they'd be looking to move up back into the first round,
right? Or if it's just up from 27.
Yeah, or yeah.
Is that where they're at? Yeah, they're at 27. Yeah,
that's right. So that could be a good trade back. option.
It would be. I think if you're looking at that, I would want to look at. I think you could probably get their. Let me pull it up here. Well, so the problem with that is I don't know if you could get. I'd want their third, but they gave that up to the Cowboys for Odigizua. So you'd be looking at. You probably have to get a fourth, and maybe a pick next year if you're going to move down, because you need to make up about 100-ish points of value. The fourth would only be 45 points that they have 127. I think that's their next pick after pick 58. Pretty sure. So they'd be a little bit tough, but
the other teams that are looking to move are it's the teams in the teens looking to move
trying to
down.
go up,
Vikings and Bengals.
Down. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Now
here's a question:
Yep,
if like Sonny Styles was on the board at like 13, would you be interested in like to go up and get him?
Me, yes. For
yeah.
Sure. Now, if we're trying to stay again within the realm of like what the Chargers would do, I don't know about that. Maybe
might have
that's enough.
Yeah,
you'd have
watch Denzel Perriman. Your linebacker anymore? He's not still their starting middle linebacker, is he?
I think they wanted it to be the Michigan kid that has been hurt the past 2 years, but I can't remember his name right now because it's been so long since he actually played. But right now it might be. According
to our lads, right now their inside linebackers are Denzel Perriman and Dan Henley.
Yeah, Henley's the big one.
And then behind them are Junior Colson.
Yeah, Colson's the one. Yeah. They wanted it to be Junior Colson, but Junior Colson doesn't play. So that's a problem. But if he plays, maybe.
And then the other guy is an undrafted free agent in Troy Dye.
Yeah, Troy die slowly is what he's probably thinking when he's out there. But yeah, I think the team that I was interested in, it would be a small move, but it's one that I could see making a lot of sense. And we could probably get their, let me pull it up here. Where is that at? It'd be a similar move with the Niners where like it wouldn't be a big enough move to get their third round pick for it, but we could probably pick up a fourth this year and maybe another late round pick, maybe something around like, if I could find where their fifth round pick is. Do they have a fifth round pick? Chicago is who I'm thinking of at 25. If an edge rusher's falling a little bit, but not one that we think is worth sticking at, if we can get some value for, they could maybe be wanting to make a move. Something like that. I wonder if we get a corner that comes off the board other than Delane and McCoy before 22, would the Chiefs consider moving up from 29?
Yeah.
Potentially. Like, I know that they kind of have been doing the, like, we'll take a corner on day 2 and day 3 and figure it out thing for a long time, but without McDuffie there anymore, I wonder if they're comfortable doing that at this point.
Yeah.
Then again, they might want to take a receiver, which honestly, if the receivers come off the board in a certain way, with the Chiefs want to come up to 22, like trading with a rival's obviously always a little bit weird, but it will happen sometimes. So like maybe we can justify that being a thing. But the trade back is a little bit tough, especially if there's just not a lot of takers. But that's probably still what I'd be looking to try to do if the board doesn't fall the way we want it to.
But I mean, there could also be some teams in that second part of round 2, like that are early in round 2 that might see somebody that they love fall. Is kind of what I'm hoping. Like, and there's a team like maybe the Browns at want to move up from 39, because like that'd be ideal. Because I think they're a team that has a lot of draft capital. Just because they're the Browns, they always have a lot of draft capital.
This is true.
But because nobody wants to play for the Browns. Sorry, Browns. But that could be one. But what all do they have now?
So I think for that trade, what we would want to ask for, if that was something that they were interested in doing, You'd want 39. You'd want 70. And then you would want one of their late round picks as a throw in. Probably the one at 146 would get you about equal value from 39 to 22. That would give us now 2 more picks than we would have had and still inside the top 40. You get an extra top 70 pick and another pick, not that far down the board on day 3. That would definitely be worth it, I think, if you could pull that off. Now, obviously, you'd have to accept that. But that's on value, at least from like the trade value chart. So I think it's a reasonable ask. If not them, I was looking to like, oh man, if if you are Arizona and you just want to make sure that no one, if you really like, let's say they really like Ty Simpson, Arizona does, right? As their option at quarterback in this class, if they want to take him. And maybe for some reason they think, because Cleveland would do this in real life, they would probably take him at 24 just because, right? They're stupid. They do stupid shit. Or you can just convince like someone's going to come up and try to get him in the first round for that 5th-year option. They could make some sense too, potentially. Maybe not even just for Ty Simpson. That's just the name that came to mind. You'd be looking at a similar deal there. So it'd be 34, it'd be 560 if you get. Honestly, if you just ask for 65, it's a little bit overvalued, but it's almost on value. Just say, 34.65, you can have 22. That's kind of also a good option, I think, then. You pick a little bit earlier in the second round, so you get a little bit more value at the top of the second, more guys available to you than you'd have at 39, obviously.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I also forgot Cleveland had 24, so ignore what I said. Just entirely.
If they really want to, like, load up, if they really like this class, which the Browns could, the way they are about stuff, who knows. But I think that one makes probably, like you said, a little bit more sense just from the draft capital lens.
Yeah. Or maybe they want to come up from 24 to 22, and in exchange, we can move up in the second.
Yeah, we could try to do something
seconds,
like
that. The gap between 39 and 55 is pretty significant.
Yeah, so that would be they'd be overpaying for that if it was a straight swap, but like maybe that's something they would still be willing to do if we offered it. I think
who's there at depending on who's there at 22 that they loved.
Another name to keep in mind, and this is dependent on what they do at 5, because unless the guys that are handling the Giants in this mock are thinking this way, could they come up to 22 for a receiver if they take a defender at 5 or Love or whoever to pair with Malik Neighbors? Because unless they take Tate or someone at 5, 37 might get you a decent receiver too, but if they really like, let's say, like a Denzel Boston type or someone like that, that could be that outside, X receiver for them or whatever, that might be a good place to move up for it, ahead of a team like the Eagles who might be planning to get rid of A.J. Brown. Maybe they want to take a receiver at 23, something that they do is plan for the future or potential situations. The Browns might take one at 24 if they don't take one at 6. Like, that's kind of that range when you start seeing the receivers go, especially if the Steelers stick to what I expect them to do, which is take a receiver at 21. That might be the trigger point for someone to come up for a receiver at that point. So, what do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I like that.
I just want to make sure, because it feels like you haven't really got a chance to talk too much. I didn't want you to stand there.
No, you're good.
Feel bad. I was like, we're just going after it. Jake's like, yeah. No, that's actually, I think, of the scenarios we talked about, that's the one I could see being the most realistic to what we're kind of looking at here.
What do you guys think are the 3 biggest needs for the Chargers to come out of this draft with? Jake, what do you think?
Offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
That's a given. Defensive line, probably. Interior, and then maybe wide receiver or edge. Maybe I think. I don't know. It's kind of hard for me between those.
Yeah, that's kind of. I mean, I think the whole front 7 is probably I would argue
Yeah,
probably
that's
the
fair.
biggest need. Like the front seven's just old and mid is kind of the best way
Two
to put
things
it.
you don't always want to be in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, right now the front seven is the starting front seven is, you got Jamari Caldwell, Dalvin
Baller.
Tomlinson, Tier Tart,
Mm.
Tuli Tupilato,
Love that.
Denzel Perriman, Dan Henley, and Khalil Mack. That's your front seven.
See, you got me going with Tuli too, and then you had to do the rest of it, Dalton. That really got me.
Denzel Perryman's still kicking.
Yeah,
it's just rough. I mean,
yeah,
and Denzel Perriman would be one of the better players in that front seven.
yeah. I think
he probably is.
I think for me, just in terms of order, like I still think the interior of the offensive line, because here's what it looks like right now.
Yeah,
Tyler Biotish, I think, is going to be a good center for them. Trevor Penning is currently slotted in to start at left guard.
Ew.
And Cole Strange is slated to start at right guard. So that certainly cannot be allowed to happen.
no.
You could argue maybe someone is going to be able to beat them out. Like maybe a Trey Pipkins moves inside to guard, even though he's been kind of bad at tackle. Maybe he can do something there.
But that's it.
That's kind of it. Like, do you still? What about a Ben Cleveland? Can we get a Ben Cleveland in the
Ben Cleveland? You got Taylor Bronson, who was a 6th round pick last year.
Yeah.
You got Coyote Awasika.
Yeah, that guy.
That guy. That's their backup left guard right now.
Sure.
You got Josh Kaltenberger.
Nice name. Not probably a good player.
They haven't invested in offensive line depth at all. So I definitely think that's got to be a heavy emphasis.
Yeah.
Yes, for
I'm
sure.
definitely in agreement on those. And Jiggy kind of touched on it, on like maybe wide receiver, but I think just generally like offensive line.
Yeah, like I like the group they have overall, like in terms of like I don't think it's lacking in like guys that can play. It's just that unless McConkey gets back to what he was as a rookie, which I think is very possible with McDaniel calling shots here now. I liked the little bit I saw from Trey Harris last year, but I don't know if I'm willing to say that I think he's going to be like a full-time starter for them and work out. Quentin Johnston is an enigma, is what I'll say, is the best word I have for him. He's either like a legit like true weapon one week, and then the other weeks it's like I don't know that he's out there. And that's just tough at times. I like Keandre Lambert-Smith as a backup, speed player. I know that you're familiar with him as well, Dalton. I thought he was pretty decent pickup for them last year in the draft, but they could use a true number one, especially because I think it would help McConkey kind of fit into what he's best as. It's probably number two. I don't know if you get that at 22 in this draft, so I don't know if that necessarily is like their biggest need from that perspective.
Yeah, the Harris thing's interesting because like you hope he becomes like the sacrificial X because McConkey is really your number one.
Yeah,
but I just don't know if he's good enough to take enough attention away from McConkey.
That's
the biggest
concern. That's the concern. Is like, but they seem to like him a lot, so I'm going to assume at this point in time that they're kind of happy with what they have going on there for the most part.
Yeah.
I think an underrated need is safety because right now you have Elijah Molden, who's been pretty good for them since coming over from Tennessee. But Tony Jefferson is currently their starting strong safety, who admittedly has played good for this team, but he was retired for a reason before he joined this team last year. Like he's not long for the NFL at this point. So if someone like, for example, if Thieneman's at 22 somehow, which I don't necessarily think is going to happen, or if you can get McNeil-Warren on a trade down situation, especially, which is what I'd rather do. That could make a lot of sense for this defense, but I kind of feel like if you're going to stay at 22, right? Like if we can't find a trade partner, I'm taking one of two types of player, like one or two of these types of guys, either an offensive lineman that I think has guard versatility. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a guard, but it has to be a player who I think can play guard. Or to me, I actually kind of default to the best edge pass rusher that's available,
Yeah.
or just honestly maybe just
Yeah.
front seven, like you said, defensive player, like you were talking about Dalton. Maybe that is a better way to think about it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm wondering like what tackles that we think might be there. Do we think could play guard? Like Caden, do we take Caden Proctor?
He could play guard.
Well, listen,
I think
Caden Proctor's a Harbaugh player, but I don't think he's a McDaniel player. So you have to weigh that. Can he play in McDaniel's in his offense? I don't.
That's a great way to put it.
I don't know about that.
Although McDaniel might be like, yeah, but I can make him do weird shit too.
That's true. He could be the answer at X wide receiver. People forget.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that's possible. I don't like the problem with the tackles is like, unless Spencer Fano makes it there, which I doubt. I really doubt that. I just can't imagine he's going to make it to 22.
Yeah.
Then a lot of the other guys that are tackles that could play guard are probably going to go higher than 22 because they can do both of those things. Like Maui Noah's not making it to 22. I don't think Fano's making it to 22. I'm liking Ihonicher more and more, but I don't think he's a guard because he still needs to develop as a tackle.
I don't either.
A guard too. Like he needs to finish developing there first.
Yeah, and I don't think you take Drew Shelton in the first round to make.
I certainly am not doing it.
Yeah.
So the Chargers are in kind of, and I'm kind of happy that we end up with them because this is a very uniquely like kind of weird position for them in the draft. Like it's going to be interesting to see how we do this.
I just can't believe they ended up with 5 draft picks.
Yeah, man. I was.
Do we run through like a really quick mock draft just to see what
we can definitely do it? So,
do we do it on Draft Professor?
Yeah, we can.
To see since a lot of the guys that we're going to be mocking against have been on that show and they have done the simulator on the show.
That makes a lot of sense to use that. And I try to use that or PFSN, one of the two usually. So let me do that.
Yeah, PFSN's good if their system is good, just not their.
I use the consensus they have, so because that helps make it like I always use the consensus for whatever thing I can if I'm able to, if that's an option. But that's just to make it a little bit more fair. But let's do just the first. Well, let's do 4 rounds because they have 4 picks in the first round, so let's do 4 rounds here. So it'll be quick. And then, okay. Let me get it pulled up real quick. If my computer will cooperate with me here. But this is probably what we should do to finish off the show, just to kind of get an idea of looking at what this will potentially look like. But here we go. Boom. All right. So let's get this kicked off. Start draft.
But you don't want to offer a trade for number 1?
No. Okay, so
Omar Cooper Jr. is 21.
That would make me happy. As a Steelers fan. So right now, we're getting a trade offer that is this 65 for no. Anyway, I'm not entertaining that one right now. Okay, so Spencer Fano's there, which I mean, that would be the pick if he's here. Now, I don't know how confident I am that he's going to be there, but
if he's not, what's the next guy aside from Fano on the board? Who you guys are? I could see like a Caden McDonald.
Parker.
We talked about that. Yeah, I could see them doing that.
Yeah.
I like Zion Young a lot, and he kind of fits the like FU mentality situation.
Yeah, but he also might be.
There's that. But hey, Harbaugh will...
Like I can't take him in the first round because of that. Like it's kind of like I mean, unless like very end of round 1, I had him as a late first.
But I think he's going to be a bear.
I'm just worried,
but
I'm like tempted to. I've been between. I just recently dropped him down to early second. The multiple arrests part of it.
Yeah, I get it.
Just kind of gives off Mike Green vibes.
Yeah, which you don't want to be giving off.
But if
Mike
it weren't
Green
for that, he
vibes.
might be a top 10 pick.
Yeah, he's really. I really like him a lot. Yeah, I think as a pure I have a late first round grade on him just overall. Like I'm not factoring in that stuff because I simply don't know enough and don't want to play around with that as much with the unknown. But he would make a lot of sense for them from that perspective. Parker, I'm not quite as high on, but I think he also fits what they kind of like. Again, I think it would be early for any of the other true interior guys, but I do like Pregnon a good bit.
Yeah.
So and Basantis would also be a really good scheme fit too for McDaniel. So like that's
I'm good with Fano or Woods here. Those would be my top two guys.
Fano's definitely what I would do if he's here for sure.
Yeah.
Just
because I think he could fall if like the idea is that, if someone takes obviously Maui Noah is the first alignment off the board. Someone goes interior with Ioane at some point instead of tackle. Someone goes who came off the board? Did Lomu come off the board already?
So we have Maui Noah at 5. We have Freeling at 10 to the Bengals, which is interesting. We have Ioane to the Ravens, which is I think is what's going to happen in real life, by the way. Lomu at 17, and that's it.
Yeah, makes sense. With how high people are on Freeling now, I could see
Someone
Fano
saw
falling.
Keegan Trost PFF grade. Someone saw his grades and said, "Okay, we'll take him early." Anyway, sorry. I think Fano, if he's here, would obviously make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Good scheme fit, could play multiple positions, could honestly be this team's future long-term center if they really wanted him to be. Who knows? If one of the tackles just keeps dying, maybe they just play him a tackle. Whatever, it would make a lot of sense if he was there.
Could that be a thing? Like they end up moving Slater to guard and putting him at tackle?
Well, here's the thing: is I think that would be obnoxious and stupid. But I think if Slater gets hurt again, you could just play him at right tackle and figure out the rest. That would be my move. It's I wouldn't move Slater because he's just really fucking good. But also, so yeah, that's what I would do here for sure.
Let's do it.
Go with it? All right.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Okay. What do we have up here next? Jeremy Bernard to the he's an Eagles player. I'm not sure about
That's
this
an interesting
one, especially ahead of D'Angelo Pons. By the way, I know that the draft professor and no mock draft simulator does a good job of this. There might not be a less Packers player on planet Earth than D'Angelo Pons. So just throwing that out there. Oh, someone likes Akeem Wheatley even more than we do. Anyway. So let's look real quick what has happened since then. So Peter Woods, he would be an Eagle, and it would work because it's the Eagles. Okay, Ian Osher goes off the board. Christian Miller, he's someone who's growing on me, by the way. He might be
25.
That's still early, but he's growing on me a little bit in this weird defensive tackle class. He's the only normal one, other than McDonald, that's actually good. Also,
can't wait for Denzel Boston's contract to be with the Niners in 4 years.
Yep, love it. Love it. KC conception to the Bills would scare the shit out of me. So there's that. So that'll probably happen. Pregnon goes to 28, which I think for the Texans, I would not hate that pick very much.
Yeah.
Chiefs take the most Chiefs edge rusher of all time, so that lines up. The Dolphins take a corner that. Oh yeah, dude, he would be good in Seattle. I know he would too.
Yeah,
he'd be awesome in Seattle. By the way, Terrell, we might have been early on the Terrell downfall. Because did you see his testing numbers, Dalton?
Not good.
Apparently was dealing with something. He's just not as explosive as he needs to be for his size. And maybe we were just early. Also, Chris Belt 31 was scary in that for the page. They'd find a way to make him work, which would be scary. McDonald, Chris Johnson. I love Chris Johnson. We talked about him. Zion Young to the Raiders. Of course he would be. Of course
they would never, because they're one of those teams that specifically anything because one of his charges involves domestic violence. I'm pretty sure, and they're a team that if that's on if that's out there, they don't even.
Of
Take a
all the
chance
teams
anymore.
to be the ones to make it.
I know, right?
I love that it's the Raiders. Honestly, I appreciate that from them. McNeil
Proctor-
Warren goes in a decent range. Caden Proctor to the Texans is so funny. I'm sorry, just kind of is. A lot of guards coming off the board, unfortunately. So, and it's a good thing we took Fano actually when we did. Keith
Ty
Abney,
Simpson,
Miller.
44.
You know, sure,
It's possible. It's
sure,
possible.
why
Yeah.
not?
Honestly, that sounds late for him.
Yeah, I kind of that's probably where I'd want to take him
Like
at this point.
cynically, like where he's gonna actually go. I think it'll be earlier than that.
Yeah, me too.
All right. So my first thought here is, what if we just no, not even that.
Okay.
My first thought
I
is,
thought it'd be that because it's
what if we just build the most powerhouse offensive line ever and take Dunker
Jennings
here
Dunker.
and
So
just maul the shit out of everybody?
again, like this is closer to where I have Dunker. He's more of a third round guy for me, but the problem is he was a good zone blocker at Iowa, but he also doesn't really move well. So it's like I don't know if the fit makes a lot of sense for McDaniel's offense, but maybe he'll be okay with it. You know, he's had guys that are like that before. You know, I could see like just doubling down and being like, we're just going to crush you and throw you into the wind basically every play, which is I'm not against that at all.
Yeah, again, that's kind of a silly.
I mean, for me, a player that I've been kind of like advocating for them because I feel like he's exactly the type of edge rusher that they love is Gabe Akis. Like they will probably love Gabe Akis if I had to guess. Like the run defense stuff is weird.
Off the field all the time.
Here's the thing: like I think they need to just let him play and see if he'll figure it out because you can't keep doing that. He is too good of a player, in my opinion, to just keep assuming you just let him go out there and fucking figure it out. Like, you know, get out of here with this fuck off, Illinois. You guys suck anyway. That's my take at this point. But I think he'd be a player that they would really like. I also unfortunately feel like they might like Deni Dennis Sutton a lot. I don't think it would work if they took him.
This would be wildly early for Deni Dennis Sutton.
But I feel like he's a player that's going to go closer to this range than we want him to because he tested the way he did, and he's at Penn and he came out of Penn State. Like, but if we're looking just in general, oh man,
what D tackles are on the board?
So if we go to defensive line, big citrus. Caleb Banks still here.
Banks is.
I mean, you probably have to just take him if he's a fifth. I mean, holy shit. I mean, this isn't that unreal.
No.
Could you?
I'm very okay with the range here.
Yeah. Sorry, Jake. Go ahead.
I'm definitely okay with that pick, but just for shits and giggles, can you look at receivers?
Yes. Well, I know one. I know there's one on the board.
Yeah, but that's just a slower Lab McConkey.
Yeah.
But what if Dalton, you'd have a chance to see if he could become Keenan Allen Part 2.
Yeah.
Then you could be right about Elijah Surratt.
We'll say if Ted Hurst is still there in the third round, that'd be a lot of fun.
Ted Hurst is fun. I did finally get to watch him, by the way. He's fun. Zachariah Branch, not a fan. He's not a real player, in my opinion. He's an NPC. He's a created player for when you're playing Madden. That's what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
No offense to him. Skylar Bell is a good player. I think receiver, like unless you're going to go Surratt, which I wouldn't have a problem with, but I don't think we go there. Corner.
Yeah. Ooh.
Cissé's interesting, but safety.
Yeah,
Halsey kind of fits that.
Actually, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, a little early, but I don't hate it.
I mean, it's late second.
Yeah.
So it's kind of in that.
I guess we are late second at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Banks is hard to.
Who's around at linebacker?
Ooh, that's actually a good question.
Maybe we wait till.
Yeah, Trotter is definitely, unfortunately, their type, which means that if they took him, he'd be like not that good, probably. I would say
Trotter is in the worst ways. Just
Yes.
Denzel Perriman.
That's kind of the problem.
Worst place.
Like therein lies the issue. Like, I like him as a midday 2 player, but like it's because I think he does one thing really well, and you hope that he can develop a little bit more from there. But this team does not need more of those players.
No, they don't need
No.
another linebacker.
Especially not with
liability and coverage.
5 picks.
No, you don't. I think if Banks is here, you kind of have to toss the card in and
Yeah.
say, figure it out.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
See what happens here. I think I saw Oscar.
Oh, Drew Allard to the Steelers.
Oh, fuck me.
Yes.
Fucking shit.
I
Jadarian
forgot
Price
about that.
and Kenneth Walker in the backfield. That's scary. Gabe Akis.
Jonah Coleman to the Texans. That's
Oh
interesting.
my god. Just Trotter to the Bears. Unfortunately, fits. AJ Halsey to the Texans. That also fits.
Dunker to the Broncos is not fair.
No, that rocks.
No.
Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I don't like him that much, but I think that's pretty cool. Malachi Fields, unfortunately, it's not the 63rd player in the draft.
No.
Going over Surratt is comical.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What is this situation? What is this trio of receivers doing?
Or do they just like? Is this because the Patriots like Booty that much that they don't want to bring in Surratt?
Yeah, they don't want to have any chances. Yeah.
Another
Watson,
tight end for the
Rams.
Browns.
Who did the Titans take in the first round? Okay, never mind. We're good.
Bane.
I thought they took Love, and I was like, "You're telling me you took both of
But
these
yeah,
guys?"
Bryce Lance going that high was wild to see.
Yeah, I have not watched him yet, but there's some people that are irrationally high on him, and I'm curious to see how close I am.
No,
to that.
I mean,
Big
he
citrus
looks
to the
great.
Raiders.
Yeah, love that actually.
Oh,
But yeah,
dude,
Bryce
this is-
Lance, the tape looks great, Shane. You know why? Because he is an NFL wide receiver playing against people that are going to sell
Hey,
cards.
listen, he was catching passes also from my number 3 quarterback, so I don't want to hear it, Dalton.
Yeah,
He was
but again,
getting
that's the
open,
point.
it.
The
No,
whole
I know.
offense is just Cole
I
Payton running around for a while till Bryce Lance gets open.
And it worked. So no,
Yeah.
anyway, I'm just I know. Denied Dennis Sutton would work out because he went to the Eagles, so that's funny.
Yeah,
Oscar Delp, unfortunately, like I like him actually a good bit the more I watched him, but he would die with the Browns probably because everyone dies with the Browns. Ted Hurst to the Saints kind of fucking rocks actually.
yeah, it does actually.
It's pretty cool. Buccaneers have 4
Oops.
nickels.
Nice.
They just have 4 nickel corners. I don't know how that's going to work out. Oh, the Colts. Oh God. Jesus Christ. This would also work because the Ravens love taking this exact player, and they always are good.
Stowers to the Panthers is fun.
That's fun. Yeah, I like that. If you can't get Sadiq at 19, that would make sense.
Keelan Rutledge, 85. You know,
That'd be sick.
I've actually seen some stuff this week about like I think it was Daniel Jeremiah said something about Keelan Rutledge as a round 1 target for the Steelers.
Yeah, sorry. I like him a little bit.
Yeah.
You can't do that. That's Cole Strange all over again, bro. Don't do that shit.
All right.
He's good.
What linebackers are here? This
all
is
right.
where I think.
Well,
Oh,
can I
Is-
interest
No,
you?
I
in
don't like
these? What's up?
is Rodriguez off the board?
Oh, that's right. Maybe he's not because they hate him. Kyle Lewis is still here. The Slender Man himself, Eric Gentry, is here. Did they? Okay, they wised up. They stopped taking him at 304 or whatever the fuck it was. So, not taking linebacker here, I don't think.
I wouldn't mind going to linebacker later and getting somebody like
Yeah.
Trey
Yeah.
or somebody.
Someone
Have you
that
guys
is-
watched Red Murdoch?
No, he sounded
haven't
like a
watched it.
cowboy character from a movie, so I didn't watch it.
Yeah, he's got a fun name, and the last
That's not a
Buffalo
football
linebacker from last year was a baller.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah, he was. Just trade
What,
for him.
what happened to him?
He's the backup on the Rams right now. He played a little bit. I think he's better than
Right.
literally everyone.
What's his name again?
I'm so mad that I don't immediately know.
I know.
Off the top of my head. I've watched too many players this cycle. I forgot everyone else that I know. Rams. That's right. That's what happens. I swear. It's like not something I have to care about anymore. It is Sean Dolak. That's right.
Sean Dolak.
That dude fucking rocks. You
Again.
can't tell me he's not the best linebacker on the Rams. I refuse to believe it.
I need to watch. I feel like I need to watch Red Murdoch just because.
Just in case.
Buffalo linebacker with a fun name.
Just in case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? I want to take a look at.
Ooh, I don't
Edge.
hate like a Barham here.
Yeah, I know. I think you're a fan of his, huh? I need to watch him more, but
Romello Height. I don't know. I don't know if
God, I don't know if Romello Height fits anyone.
Yeah,
he's a weird guy. Hey, Michael Taff apparently is
that feels so high.
Apparently, he's the number one player for them.
Oh yeah, that's.
And Genesis Smith. Oh,
I definitely would not have
God.
him above Smith or Clark.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Oh my goodness, what a group of players brought in here.
Yeah. Oh.
Mm.
Max Clare.
That's interesting.
It's a little early, but I don't hate it that much actually.
What do we have at corner? The big boy.
Claire, I had a late second round grade on Claire. Yeah, that's work.
He's a good fit. He became more of a traditional tight end.
Yeah, you could just tell Will Dissly to fuck off at that point.
Pretty much, which I'm okay with at this point.
Yeah.
My boy. I say as he's my number 13 safety. We took again Banks last time, so we're good there.
What's left on the edge?
So it's Barham. If you like Nadeem Tucker, I know has some fans that still have to watch him. Super productive player.
LT Overton would be a Charger.
He would, and it'd be so bad. You like Joshua Joseph?
Ooh.
Or is that
I like Joshua Joseph. A little early though. I think
he's also everything that they don't like, pretty much, as an edge rusher.
That's also true. Also true.
Yeah, and also I don't know. I mean, it just the fit's weird in a 3-4.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think Max Clare is a guy that could be BPA for you.
I can kind of talk myself into Joseph's, but for the
they have a 4th and then a 6th, right?
Yeah. But we're only we only have one more pick here. We until the 4th round.
Yeah, I feel like Joseph's is a guy you might be able to get in the 4th.
Maybe. Who plays the slot for them right now? Derwin most of the time.
Derwin, yeah.
I think so.
So I don't think you could take like a Deontay Scott here and play him very much early on, or Keontae Scott, I should say.
Well, unless you just tell Derwin James, you're a safety, you're a box safety.
Which I guess you could do, because that would be interesting. He's the type of guy that they like as like a scrappy corner.
Yeah.
I
can see that.
I kind of still think part of the problem is I don't know if Max Clare is a good enough tight end to take when you have the bodies you have at tight end right now. Like with Sadiq, it made sense to me because it's he's just a much better player, and he's probably better than Gadsden as an actual tight end. But I don't know how much you can use all of them at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, did they get rid of Dissly?
I don't know if he came back or not, actually.
Yeah, he's not there. Right now, the only tight ends on their depth chart are Gadsden, Charlie Kohler, Tanner McLaughlin, and Yasmin Thomas. So, Max Clare makes a lot of sense because Gadsden's not actually a tight end.
I'm good with that, then. Yeah.
Although they did sign Alec Ingold.
Well, he's a fullback. I don't fucking care about.
Yeah, but I mean, I just wonder if that limits how much 12 personnel they're gonna run.
Run fucking all of the guys out there.
22 personnel.
Do it.
Why not?
Barham's still there.
It's hard. It would be hard for me to not. Well, let's look at the rest. But I do like Barham in the 4th.
It looks like Joseph's is gone.
Yeah, I think he went to the Colts.
Yeah, so Barham and Barham again, from what I've seen of him, he could kind of have some on-ball, off-ball flexibility.
He
So,
played.
like,
There were some games where he played just like strictly off ball.
I think he was mostly an off-ball guy until this year, right? Like he kind of
Yeah,
started to play edge
he's
this
a
year.
recent. Yeah.
So,
Anything before 2025, he's mostly off ball, or anything really before the last half of 2025, he was mostly off ball.
Michigan man,
Is Golday off the board at this point?
I would assume, right? Yeah, he was at 47.
Yeah.
Colts,
Oh,
I remember
shit.
seeing him. Yeah.
Whoa, he went. Oh,
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure I saw
Carson Beck to the Cowboys. That's nice.
Hell yeah. Golday at 47, yeah.
someone's gonna
Oh,
draft
wow.
Carson Beck early on day 2.
And I hope it's not my team.
No, you're getting Drew Aller.
Well, maybe I'm okay with Carson Beck. No, I'm not that crazy.
Don't worry, whoever it is, you have a quarterback whisper head coach.
All right. I mean, I haven't watched him very much, so this would be Jake kind of doing this, but Barham makes a lot of sense from a fit perspective, I think.
Yeah, I haven't watched a ton of him, but I'm all right with that.
What do you think, Jake? You worth it here, probably?
Yeah, I would probably take him here. I think 4th round is definitely solid value for him. Yeah.
All right. Other than
Wow,
Max
they
Clare,
did not like that.
They hate Max Clare.
They did not like that pick.
They think he's bad. Hashtag Shane over here. Anyway,
I mean,
yeah,
like,
it's
I
on
get
him.
it if you think Gadsden's an actual tight end. I get hating that pick, but I don't know if Gadsden's actually a tight end.
I would say, generally speaking, he's not. But so now, also, Jeremiah Love went 16. You know what? I know why. It's because fucking what's his name? Anthony, is it Russo? Is that who's one of the guys who draft professor? He fucking hates Jeremiah.
Yeah.
He must be one behind this nonsense. No offense to him. I remember I saw him. He has him like somewhere in the I think the 30s or something like that in this big board. And I'm like, Anthony, no, I normally like your tweets. What's wrong with you, bro?
I can't.
You're killing me.
Yeah,
he's like, he's actually. He pretty much, from what I remember, he said something along the lines.
In this draft class,
he thinks he's not actually able to make guys miss or force miss tackles that much at all. And I was like, okay.
Each their own.
I'd like him to stop jumping over every single person he sees, but other than that, I'm kind of okay with everything else. Anyway, no. So this first 2 picks feels a little too perfect.
Yeah,
that's my only thing. I'm a little concerned that this isn't going to happen. Epic mind. But it was good to do the exercise to see kind of what we're looking at here. But if this is similar, though, oh boy, Jordan Tyson went 3rd, by the way. Holy shit, I did not see that the first time. If everyone's healthy for that Cardinals offense, whoever's playing quarterback is going to look way fucking better than they are. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Isn't it going to be Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew battling it out, which is the saddest quarterback battle?
I saw a headline that was the Cardinals things fell through with Jimmy Garoppolo, so they pivoted to Gardner Minshew, and as a Raider fan, that made me so depressed.
Yeah, now the quarterback depth chart for the Cardinals right now is Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, and Keaton Slovis.
Oh, Pitt Panther Keaton, former USC and Pitt Panther Keaton Slovis. Also, maybe played at was it BYU or something? Also. Am I making that up? Oh, no. Now I need to know. Now I need to find out. Keaton Slovis stats. The first person looked this up in 12 years. He played, USC, Pitt, BYU. I'm a disgusting person. Don't talk to me. I should not know that, but I do. Anyway. No, I think this was a fun exercise. I think it'll be... It should be interesting to see how this group of guys that's going to be doing this, multiple war rooms, play things out. And see, I want to see how much movement there is in the first round because That obviously
I feel like
affect
somebody's gonna take a swing. Like I have a hunch that somebody's just gonna, like, whether it's a trade or whatever. I feel like someone's gonna.
I think 2 quarterbacks go in the first round. And I don't know in real. I don't know about Epic Mock just because I think most people are sane. In real life, I think 2 quarterbacks are going in the first round.
I could see somebody. I could see them going in the.
I unfortunately am going to sweat until the Steelers aren't the team that does it, but they could do it. I could see them doing it.
Yeah,
So wait till whoever's controlling the Steelers takes Simpson at 21.
I will make some really upsetting comments towards that person or towards that group of people.
The nice thing is about your organization, Shane, is that
oh boy, all right, I can't wait to hear this one.
They don't. Well, no, it's a compliment.
I know.
It's that
I'll see if I think it is.
Keep them from taking. In a lot of organizations, Mike McCarthy takes Ty Simpson because that's 3 years of job security.
Yeah.
The Steelers aren't going to fire Mike McCarthy in 3 years, no matter what. So
that's probably true, which again is not a compliment to my organization, but it is also kind of a reason that they might not do stupid shit.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah, the whole Ty Simpson discourse we've talked about a little bit on the show. I think ideally I'd like to take him in the second round somewhere and hope that maybe he could become my starting quarterback. Yeah. Taking him in the first round, one, implies that he's going to be your franchise quarterback, or at least you expect him to be. And two, you're betting on so many outliers not mattering with him. It's just the reality of it. And it's not that he doesn't have some impressive moments on tape. It's not that he didn't come from a big school like he did. Like, I get all that. When you're small, haven't played a ton of football at the college level, and don't have truly standout traits, you're probably not going to work out. Doesn't mean he won't, but taking that guy in the first round is just not a bet you probably should make. And that's coming from the team that took Kenny fucking Pickett right around the same range the Steelers are picking.
Well, that's the learning experience.
You'd hope so.
Taking the Ty Simpson.
They
won't take him. They won't take him.
Jake, don't.
I will put.
Don't make me think.
Ty Simpson is not the 21st pick.
Don't make me.
They're not going to do
hope, Jake. Don't do it, because then I'm going to be sitting here on this podcast.
If he goes past that, maybe like they. Never mind. They won't do it.
Jake's like, I'm hedging. Never mind. I'm not hedging.
I've thought about this too much. I can't use any more brain power.
Me too. Trust me.
Can't do it.
I lay awake at night thinking about Ty Simpson in a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey. I don't want to do it.
It's the same as the Shedeur thing last year and Jackson Dart, when everybody said Shedeur was.
I was not nearly as worried about that as this.
And then he went 6 rounds later or 5 rounds later, but
yeah, close.
Yeah. Oh.
Dark moment for this podcast when Dalton's number 1 quarterback doesn't go to the 5th round.
I was going back.
I never got to sit with him in an interview.
This is true. It is a disadvantage of doing this the way that we do it. But
I went back through the Epic mock from last year just to kind of get a look at what it was, and sure, Sanders went second.
I mean, it makes sense.
So,
at the time,
at the time it totally made sense, but now I was just like, oh damn, I can't believe there was a time that we were.
Wouldn't that have been the Browns pick?
Thinking,
or no, that would have been the Wait, who wasn't the Jaguars the one? Or no, the Jaguars moved up to 2, so there was the Browns.
Yeah, it would have been the Browns.
So he still ended up on the Browns just 5 rounds later. Then they still got their guy. Oh my god. But no, that was definitely a fun exercise. I think we've done enough podcasting for today. When we're already about to do a lot more soon.
But hey,
including tomorrow
for hours on Thursday for the draft show, anyways. But also, tomorrow betting picks.
Actually, we'll be doing 4. Technically today, we'll be doing 4 straight days of podcast, guys. I hope you have lozenges. That would be probably a good idea to invest in some lozenges. Or at least some very hearty bottles of water,
tea with bourbon,
such like this one. But anyway, that'll do it for us this week. Or no, not this week. Fuck, I'm wrong again. That'll
do it for tonight.
Technically,
that'll do it for about 20 hours.
Right, for about 20 hours. You'll get Masters picks tomorrow. You'll get
fucking
whatever else there is. I don't even know. I have to look tomorrow. I have to see. But yeah, that'll do it for us tonight, this morning, however you want to think about it. And we'll see you tomorrow.